and I'm close to doing it twice.
You've got to play 7 grueling days to get to November 9. It really is a tough way to earn an easy living.
Dexter Dolly Brunson, who wrote the book.
And there it is. Helmuth wins the championship. This is gonna be the best day of Ryan Reese is the world champion.
Biggest day of my life.
This is the 2014 World Series of Poker Main Event telecast presented by Gentleman Jack. 27 players are left. One will win $10 million.
Day 7, let's go.
The last day, the most important day. Let's go, Brazil. Brazil here. Vamos.
It's all kind of a blur, and then one day you wake up and it's, holy shit, there's only 27 left in the main.
One more day, that's all. November 9, I can handle it, but today I need some good love.
I'm ready for day 7. This is what you dream about. I'm ready.
November 9, one day of play, grinding with the world's best.
Everyone is amped for this final day before the final table. I'm Lon McCarran with Norman, Chad, and Carrascotta. A huge day of poker is ahead.
I believe Proust said it best. We are healed from suffering only by experiencing it to the full. We're going to see a lot of suffering experience to the full today, folks.
Dan Sindelar is strong on the golf course and the felt.
Okay, so he can birdie in 3-bet. But can he pick up a 7-10 split with a sore wrist? I don't think so.
Mark Newhouse is the story with 11th place chips.
If this guy makes back-to-back main event final tables, I will remarry and re-divorce my first wife. I think I'll need a court order.
Sweden's Martin Jacobson has a stack worthy of the final 9.
Yeah, 22 million would be an average stack at the final table. If I were him, I'd go watch an Ingmar Bergman film festival and come back at the end of the day.
Jacobson leads the field by a comfortable margin. Luis Velador in 2nd. The dangerous Dan Smith lurks in 7th. Kyle Karanen in 17th has some work to do today.
He should get a t-shirt. On the front it would say, I have some work to do today. On the back it would say, where's Curtis Rice at?
Mahan, Robertson, Palmer, all short stacks.
Palmer with 5 big blinds left. That's like walking into a Ruth Chris Steakhouse with a $5 bill.
The current payout is nearly $287 grand for the next 9 eliminations. 3 tables remain. The blinds right now at 60 and 120,000, and pocket queens for Dan Smith under the gun. And all in is Scott Palmer with his short stack. Ace tray of diamonds over to Billy Pappas, the foosball champ with jacks.
There's Palmer all in, and he's caught in a pocket pair crossfire here.
Palmer, once a high-flying online star, had millions tied up online when Black Friday hit. And Pappas delving into deep waters with those jacks, with Smith already in with queens. Pappas makes the call.
Palmer, a 24-year-old pro from Odenton, Maryland. Yes, Maryland, Lon. What a state.
Wow, how many Maryland guys are playing in this event and going deep?
Plus, we eat a lot of crabs.
Brian Devonshire in the big blind with pocket 9s, and he gives them up. Too much action in front of him. Back to Smith now, the best player with the best hand.
Smith was at the University of Maryland for a while. In my dorm hall, we 4-bet here.
He lived in a different dorm hall, I guess.
Well, it's interesting that neither Pappas or Smith wants a pre-flop raising war. Scott Palmer at risk.
We could have a side pot. 9-8 king all club. Smith is still best, plus he adds a flush draw, and he checks.
Not a good flop for Palmer. He just went from 29% to 7%. If his hand were a Wall Street stock, it might not make it to the closing bell.
Pappas checks as well. Turn card 6 of hearts. No change to the pecking order.
750.
And Smith will bet at 750,000. And Pappas gets rid of his jacks. Not all foosball champs fold that.
Well, that's a good conservative play from him.
Smith has Palmer heads up. Pappas happy he folded.
Only the ace of spades or the ace of hearts would save Palmer.
And the river card is the ace of hearts. Palmer spikes the winner and sits there like he knew it was coming.
Good time to get lucky. I was wondering how you're still eating Subway. Like, down to 2 hours, can you get a better lunch?
Oh, it's pretty confident.
Palmer can finish his lunch now in good spirits.
Milos is around.
Thanks for the good luck. I clearly made the ace on river.
I'm happy for you.
Alright, time to do that like 3 more times. Maybe I'll win this.
Well, then you miss Milos.
Every year, I hear politicians and friends arguing whether poker is a game of skill or luck? We know it's a combination of both, with a heavier emphasis on skill. And Norman, that last hand is a great example, right?
Billy Pappas folded jacks there like they were 7-deuce offsuit. That is skill. Scott Palmer beat queens with ace tray. That is luck. Yes, in any one hand, luck is a factor. But in a lifetime of hands, skill is the predominant factor. What, you don't believe me? Then sit down heads up against Phil Ivey or Phil Galfond for a week or two, then come back to me after you've lost the shirt off your back and tell me it's a game of luck.
The chip leader is at our featured table, Martin Jacobson and his $22 million. Kyle Karanen has bested his 38th place finish from a couple years ago. And there's Brian Roberts. Apparently when he runs deep, he goes for purple.
Tiger Woods has red, Brian Roberts has purple. Everyone needs a color.
It worked well for Brian back in 2011 at the World Series of Poker Europe final table. He's hoping it does the same here in Las Vegas. This is a fully loaded featured table right now. Roberts is the shortest stack in the room.
Roberts said he'd rather bubble than min cash, but I believe he'd rather final table than bubble.
Yeah, like Brian Roberts, Kyle Karanen also in need of chips.
No update on whether he will go golfing with Curtis Rystat post main event. I'm betting against it.
Action on Kyle right now at our featured table. King, Queen.
Kyle has changed visors. I consider that a tactical mistake. Change underwear? Yes. Change visors? No.
Gotta love picture cards. A raise to 250,000. Jacobson. Queen 8 off for the big stack, and he'll throw those away. Roberts with a suited jack into the muck. The Moscow pro, Andrei Zychenko, they call him Zaya, in the small blind folds. And now to Felix Stevenson, 23-year-old Norwegian pro, in the big blind with pocket sevens.
Well, from Norway, and he wasn't expecting the 105-degree heat here in Las Vegas.
This is his first ever World Series cash. This is going to be a good one for him. He calls for 130,000 more.
Kyle couldn't generate much on day 6. Hope day 7 turns around.
And there is a set of sevens for Stevenson, and somewhere Curtis Rystat is cheering. Stevenson checks.
Top pair versus middle set. Doesn't bode well for Kyle. He was making big hands earlier. Things change.
Kyle does bet out 300,000.
Felix in a Chargers hat. What's the last time they made the Super Bowl? Maybe 20 years ago?
Long
Tough
time
to get to the November 9 in a Chargers hat.
And he calls jack on the turn. And now Kyle Karanen drawing dead, and Stevenson checks to him. Kyle still top pair, and he checks back.
A little pot control there from Kyle.
10 of spades on the river. Now let's see what Felix does with his set.
Well, Felix not afraid of ace-king here, which would make Broadway. Of course, I'd be afraid of ace-king.
I'm afraid of ace-king right now. 575.
Top pair for Kyle.
And a very good kicker. It looks like he's going to commit the chips. There is the call. There is the set. And Stevenson takes a bite out of Karanen's dwindling stack.
I think Kyle misses Curtis Rystat right about now.
So the kid who grew up in Norway, who lives in London, and is also an NFL fan, wins a nice pot off Kyle Karanen. Oh, and he loves real football, too.
Poker has grown a bit more accepted over the past few years in Norway, and I can see that in a lot of ways. So we're here in Manchester today. It's game day. Hey guys, how are you doing? Come on in. So I'm here with a couple of my mates from Norway. Excited to get things rolling.
He's outgoing, he's kind, he's down to earth. Well, basically, just a good guy.
Love me? I wouldn't dare. All right, so we got our golden ticket for a golden season, and it's time to hit the pub.
Felix for me is a laid-back man, chilled man, always friendly, helps out. You can just trust him.
My friends has always been on board with me playing poker, and they've always been super supportive. It took a couple of Christmas dinners to get the entire family on board. Hi, Mom! They were a bit worried when I dropped out of school, but I mean, I've been making a living of it for a few years now.
Felix as a person is a really private guy. He likes to spend the time by himself, but he also has a lot of close friends that he takes good care of, and we all pretty much loves him as a person, just the way he is.
He's strategic, he's competitive, and well, he's basically a winner already.
Felix has definitely everything to bring down the championship. 100% believe in the guy.
It feels like whole of Norway is backing me, and I'm feeling confident that I won't let them down. I guess we're off to the game. Later, guys.
He used to be pretty good when he played soccer, and now he's a pretty good fan of Manchester United.
Action folded around to the big blind. Sean Dempsey, pocket kings for the Las Vegas anesthesiologist.
He won a bracelet this summer. In that event, Bruno Politano finished 17th.
And Dempsey just calls with the kings. He's got a son named Jack, no kidding.
Jack Dempsey.
Yeah. All right, heads up, Dempsey and Newhouse. Kings against 9-8 suited. 6-4 queen, couple of hearts. Dempsey.
I had a colonoscopy just before the main event, Lon, and that day the anesthesiologist was my best friend.
No kidding. Dempsey checks to the razor.
Dempsey is playing these kings very slowly. Of course, flush draws probably look like flushes to Mark Newhouse, but hey, he's running well and playing well.
260,000 with the flush draw to Dempsey with the kings.
Maybe a check raise here, huh?
Just a call.
Not the most aggressive anesthesiologist I've ever run into.
Well, you don't want them too aggressive, but with kings, you want them a little aggressive. Turn card 5 of spades.
Well, that's a pretty safe board for pocket kings. Time to put the gas mask on Newhouse's hand.
Mark picked up a straight draw as well, and Dempsey will give him a free shot to hit it. Does Dempsey know he has kings? Newhouse, a little suspicious.
That's a bad check. You know he's going to hit it.
Jack of hearts. Oh, thank you for the flush, says Mark Newhouse.
Oh, and look at this. This is a bad formula, Lon. Check when you're ahead, check when you're ahead, again, and then bet when you're beat.
550,000 into Newhouse with the made flush now. Brian Roberts taking care of some business away from the table.
Wake up. I badly need you on the rail with the push bot chart. Donnie sent it to me, but it's...
Newhouse raises Dempsey all in.
Dempsey would have 16 big blinds left if he folded. And we've talked about it before. It's hard to call off the rest of your chips with one pair.
What a moment for Dempsey.
All right, call.
He calls, and it will be last call for Sean Dempsey at the 2014 main event. He let Newhouse get there.
Good game, man.
Right. Another Newhouse casualty.
Dempsey out in 27th, and that brings his World Series earnings to nearly $1 million. The doctor can play. But it's Newhouse dishing out the pain to the anesthesiologist with our first knockout here on day 7. Welcome back to the 2014 main event. 26 players remain, including many first-timers we've been following from the beginning. Their improbable journey continues here on day 7.
I didn't sleep that great. I was relaxed, but I still didn't sleep that great. You have hands in your head and how the day is going to go and stuff like that, so it's hard to sleep. I think I'm number 5. I have 15.6. And I never thought I'd play the main event, never mind get this far. It's pretty crazy. I'm trying to do this one table at a time. My goal today is just get through the first table and get through the day. For me, I need to stand up a lot and go talk to my friends, and I need to cool down and relax, and that's what they're there for, you know what I mean? And they're perfect.
Did you guys cheer when he knocked him out, by the way?
Did you really? And hopefully in November, there would be an insane amount of people, I'm pretty sure.
When I went to bed last night, I was thinking how lucky of a man I am. It's pretty cool. My family, everybody put me in this thing, and it's just surreal. It's just awesome. It's a dream of a lifetime. And hopefully it affords me to be able to play in more tournaments and affords me things that I would have not been able to before. So I want to get to the table. I want to get a hand. I want to get doubled up, and I want to get some chips back. And I'll have to be a little more aggressive than I normally play, but I'm ready for it. I'm ready. I'm not giving up.
And here we are. It continues. I mean, today is one day of play. You grind, maybe hopefully don't get unlucky. Yesterday, I jokingly walked over and said, I'm dug in. And a tick was a good description of that. It's hard to put it into words right now. One day of play, equates to, being a November Niner. Pretty intense.
Well, Tom just checked the turn as a more than 3-1 dog to the pair of 7s held by Oscar Kemps, a Dutch amateur who lives in Belgium. They both check. River card is another 7. Kemps with trips. Sarah checks to him.
Oscar Kemp's not a first-timer, though. This is his 5th straight main event, and he cashed in 2012.
Kemp started the hand with almost 3.8 million. It's time to get moving. The purple chips worth 100 grand each. There's a bet of 350 and a snap call by Sarah. Wow.
We'll have to invent a new term because that was faster than a snap call from Sarah. And what was that?
Sarah pays him off with a smile and shows.
Why doesn't anybody ever believe me?
Because you show 7-5 off.
That's the first time we ever played together. Yeah. What's wrong with 7-5?
Nothing.
So Kemp's building a stack. He's up to 4.6 million now. All right, let's get back to the feature table. Short stack Brian Roberts is under the gun with King Jack offsuit.
And he is eyeing his short stack. 10 big blinds there.
All in.
Houston Pro says all in.
As a rule, I root for the purple shirt against all other colors.
So Roberts all in for just over $1.2 million. Stevenson folds to Eddie Sabat, 28-year-old poker pro with ace-queen.
Eddie and his girlfriend, Melissa Costello, a great example of opposites attract. He loves meat. She's a vegetarian. He's a Packers fan. She's a Bears fan.
And Eddie will make the call, so Roberts officially at risk. Any other takers? Politano on the button.
31-year-old business owner / part-time poker player.
2 red 10s.
Pretty good hand.
He sits with 12.6 million.
It's total? Thank you. It's 10? Okay, thank you.
Uh-oh, the hoodie comes off.
Well, no tells on Eddie Sabat. No tells on the purple people eater, but Bruno, I believe, is a junkyard of tells.
I fold.
He says fold.
Interesting fold, conservative fold. As it turns out, Politano would have been up against 4 overs unless he raised and pushed Sabat out pre-flop.
It's a big blind. Martin Jacobson, ace-7 into the muck, so Roberts at risk.
That's a great hand to be up against.
Oh, slow roll there.
Slow roll. I mean,
That's a great hand.
If I had kings
to be up against.
If I had kings. I mean, that's a good one for me. I perked up. Come on, that's a good one for me. I was about to say ace queen, please.
The flop, 7 ace-10. Sabat catches an ace. Roberts picks up a Broadway draw.
Tens. I have tens.
I had ace-7.
Oh, red tens.
You tens?
Tens, red tens.
Turn card, another 7.
Oh, Jacobson.
Bruno and Martin both just made full houses in their fantasy folded hands.
You open, I 3-bet. You 4-bet, I call.
Yeah,
I check raise the flop.
I double opted.
Roberts has got to have a queen.
The river card, another ace, and Brian Roberts' impressive run is over. Bruno would have come in 3rd in that hand, but back in the real world, Sabat knocks out Brian Roberts in 26th.
His 2nd main event cash year, plus he was 4th at World Series Europe in the main event in 2011.
For Jacobson, you escaped me.
No min cash for Roberts. Hopefully he's happy with the nearly 300 grand. A wild run out leaves Eddie Sabat smiling and Brian Roberts the 26th place finisher. To an outer table, that is Spain's Andoni Larabe with pocket 8s in the big blind. He's faced with a raise by Tom Serra holding ace-10.
Larabe has been quietly on cruise control most of this main event.
Larabe putting Serra all in.
Serra started the hand with 27 big blinds.
Big bet.
Sarah trying to assess the big over raise.
What's his hustle? Like,
Think about
7,500, and I was like, he had all his little minions, like 5 boys. And like, yeah, it's a good bet, man. Dude, quiet over here, man. Like, I don't need your boys.
He got a friend.
Never supposed to call away here, but what are you going all in with it? You don't want any value out of it.
Sarah has one right idea. I don't think he's supposed to call here.
Call.
But he does. They're racing for 9 million chips in Sarah's main event life.
Yeah, Larabe made the right move. I don't think Sarah did.
You all are crazy.
You heard Lee Force say, y'all are crazy.
I knew I had AIDS, but called it
off. Call off. I knew it was terrible, a terrible call. But I mean, I felt something wasn't right, man. Something wasn't right.
Big pot for 8 versus ace 10.
It's a big bet.
One of our first timers at risk. And here is the flop. There's a 10, a queen, and another 10 trips for Sarah.
Sarah felt something wasn't right. All is right now for ace 10.
Larabe in danger of giving up half his stack. Turn card 4 of diamonds. No help to the Spaniard.
Only an 8 would send Tom Sarah home.
River card is the 6 of diamonds. Sarah has doubled up to a very respectable 9 million. Wow.
Yeah, they essentially will swap chip positions.
Nice hand, you crazy.
I'm crazy.
Thought you were snapping the queen jack there for a second.
Well, as poker pro Greg Pappas told me this summer, nobody said you had to be smart to play poker. Sarah got away with one there.
Boy, Tom went with his read, and it worked out. Larabe now has some makeup work to do, sitting with just 27 big blinds now.
I was on to something, I felt.
You were right, man. You were right.
No, I had to get lucky, sir. I know. I had to get lucky.
A big hit to the stack of Andoni Larabe. Larabe, the youngest player left in this field, but it is his 4th World Series cash.
Fight Club and Into the Wild are his favorite movies. You know, Meatloaf was in Fight Club. Maybe he's a Meatloaf fan, although I never thought Meatloaf translated well beyond our borders.
We'll keep it right here where Larabe will try to shrug off that hit. Dan Sindelar in action, just flopped a set of 9s against Lee Force and his pocket aces.
Force beat Jason Kuhn heads up for his 2012 bracelet.
Dan checked it to Force, and Force bet 675. And Dan will make that call. Force had 3-bet pre-flop, jack of hearts on the turn. Sindelar quickly checks.
His mother wanted to name him Life, but ultimately she went with Leaf. I know I'm biased, but I would have gone with Norman.
And Sindelar gets what he wants. Force putting chips together. There's 1 million.
See, Norman Force doesn't make that bet there, though in Leaf Force's defense, that board looks pretty benign.
Force betting with the pocket aces has run into a big set of 9s. Just a call from Sindelar here.
Sindelar just looks like he's always behind, and he's usually ahead.
6 of hearts on the river. The set is best, and he checks again.
Well, Sindelar has let Force carry the water the whole way, so by the end of the hand, Leaf's arms are tired, and Dan's are fresh and strong.
Plenty strong to rake in whatever pot he's going to rake in soon. And once again, Leaf, Norman Force reaching for chips. This time it's $1.6 million.
And Sindelar simply calculating what type of check raise to make here.
Las Vegas Poker Pro says all in. He's got the bigger stack.
A river check raise is almost always a monster.
Pocket aces. And he got bad vibes from Sindelar, and Dan will take that pot. And Dan Sindelar is now the chip leader in the house. Good fold from Lee Force at the end.
15 seconds of tanking could have saved Lee Force 15% or more on this hand.
Even a caveman knows that. An unlucky flop combined with an untimely river bet. Lee Force is reeling. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Here's Kara Scott with a report on the remaining field.
With 25 players left, the field is not even. The top 5 players hold more than 40% of the chips in play. And while being a big stack right now is an enormous advantage, it's not a guarantee of a final table spot. There's only 2 former champions who actually started their day 7 in the top 10 of the chip stacks, and that was Peter Eastgate and Jonathan Duhamel. And while being a short stack is actually not comfortable for the players, it's not a guaranteed exit. Last year, 3 of our November 9 started their day 7 in the bottom third of the chip counts, including the champion, Ryan Reese.
One of the short stacks last year was Mark Newhouse, now trying to make November 9 history.
Scott Mahan on the right, one of the bottom 3 this year with King-Jack offsuit.
You heard the emotion in Scott Mahan's voice earlier in our First Timers feature. He realizes this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and he wants to seize the moment.
Raised to $350,000. Pappas, another first-timer with ace-king.
And Pappas's mantra at this main event has been, today might be the biggest day of my life. He's hoping day 7 is just that.
He does have one of the biggest chip stacks and certainly the tallest chip castle. Pappas with ace-king is going to re-raise it to $800,000.
These 2 amateurs on the precipice of a life-changing day. When was your last life-changing day, Lon?
Oh, wow. Without a doubt, the day I bought a Vitamix blender on QVC.
Wow. I didn't even know you had QVC on your cable system.
It's a good blender. All right, so action back to Mahan, the original raiser with King-Jack.
I don't like King-Jack.
Well, he likes it enough to call for 450 more.
I'd rather be stuck in a VW bug under a pile of rabid weasels than play King-Jack offsuit out of position.
All right, heads up. Here we go. The flop. 10-8 queen. Mahan's open-ended. Pappas with a gut shot. Mahan first to act. He says all in for over $1.6 million. So back to Billy Pappas, who started with almost 16 million chips.
Yeah, this might not be enough chips to make Billy Pappas go away. Pappas from Lowell, 4th largest city in Massachusetts. Mahan from Elk Point, 38th largest city in South Dakota.
And their stacks represent the size of their cities. But the small town gets big town to fold, and Mahan will survive.
Elk Point is in the house.
Yes, you go, Sam. Woo! Nice hand, bud.
Scott's fiancée, Vicki Morgan, loves to see that. Mahan takes a few from his fellow first-timer, Billy Pappas, who spoke to us earlier about how his day 6 went.
Today, I've been getting called, and I haven't been flopping, but they've been hitting. And yesterday, they just weren't hitting against me. So then I kind of shy away. But my strategy yesterday was just to raise 4 bets, 5 bets, try not to see any flops, all pre-flop. And it worked out great. And today, I'm kind of being a pansy, I guess.
What a day 6 he had. He went from 3 million to 15 million chips.
Now he's bravely wielding pocket jacks against the aces of William Tonking. All undercards for both players on the flop. Pappas checked.
Tonking started dabbling online with play money in college just to kill time between classes. He went to South Carolina. I went to Maryland. We play poker in class.
Tonking plays online poker in New Jersey. They can play online there. This is his first main event cash, and he bets $900,000 with the aces.
When he was growing up in Lowell, Pappas played a lot of cards but never hold them. Stud, AC Deucey, 727. Oh, 727 line. If 727 were a bracelet event, I'd bubble the final table every year.
Pappas puts Tonking all in. And an easy call for William. He's 2 cards from a really nice double up.
Well, we've seen so often in the past the overpair to the board calls all in and gets taken out by a flopped set. No set here, and Tonking in terrific shape for the double up.
William Tonking looking at almost 11 million chips. The 6 of hearts changes nothing.
Pappas looking for a jack and a jack only to bust Will Tonking.
The river card, the 4 of clubs. Pappas comes up empty. And over a third of his stack makes Tonking a happy man.
For Tonking, it just looks like another day at the office.
So Pappas has been cut to about $9.5 million on our player tracker. You see Tonking benefited greatly from the aces, jumping from 17th place all the way up to 6th place with 25 players remaining.
How come we never see the player tracker move from left to right?
That's too depressing. William Tonking takes some of Pappas' stack. Will, a cash game player from Jersey who only plays a few tournaments a year. Nice run here, though.
On day one, he was actually down to 8,000 chips from a starting stack of 30,000, but recovered nicely.
Over to our river rafting guide, Brian Devonshire shoved with pocket tens before Austrian amateur Max Senft called with ace-jack of diamonds.
Senft came to the main event this morning from a bank robbery.
There's an ace, and now it's Devo who needs a dealer to pull him a winner.
Boy, big pocket pairs have not been kind to Devo in the latter stages of this main event.
It's a queen on the turn, both with Broadway draws, so Devo's 10 is no good anymore.
Devonshire's got to have a jack now.
Jack of hearts is my favorite card on the deck.
Might be mine soon.
The river card, the 6 of spades. Brian Devonshire comes up short, will forever be known as 2014 main event finisher, number 25.
Second very deep main event run for Brian Devonshire in 4 years. He always deserves better.
A hasty exit for Brian Devonshire as Max Senft will stack his winnings. He's into 11th place. Another terrific run for Devonshire, ends in 25th. A big payday. That'll go a long way for a river rafting guide. No doubt we'll see Brian back here again soon.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high rollerball 7 champion.
Oh yeah!
Wheels are coming off. That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that fight?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
To our featured table, the latest chip to be introduced, the 250 beige chip. Collect a stack of those and you're doing okay. Fold it to Bruno Politano, the Brazilian on the button with pocket kings, a raise to 350. Kyle Karanen in the small blind with king, queen of hearts.
Karanen stuck in neutral and a little reverse for quite a long time.
Down to 28 big blinds now for the once high-flying pro. Karanen wants to play. How badly does he want to play? And those purples. Wow. That's quite a few purples. That's a raise to 775, telling Bruno, don't be a button bully. Jacobson folds his big blind. Now back to Brazilian Bruno.
No, Kyle with a good hand, and he doesn't think much of Bruno's button raise. Politano has a retail store back home selling purses, belts, and the like for women. I don't think he bought this hoodie at his own store.
No, I don't think so. And there is a 4-bet to $1.2 million from Bruno.
And that 4-bet cannot please Kyle Karanen.
Karanen with the shortest stack at this table.
I don't think a lot of dealers would figure that out that fast.
All in.
Karanen says all in. And a quick call from Politano, and just like that, Kyle Karanen at risk, and it's not looking good.
Rei contra Rei Dama.
Yeah, Kyle overplays King Queen there, and it may play his way out of the main event.
Spades, 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 spades coming.
Bruno loves snapping his fingers and calling for cards.
Spades coming.
It's Kyle who needs the help right now. The flop, 6-10, 7-1 heart.
Mais uma preta, mais uma preta. Low card. It's a black card, black card, black card.
Man, it's easy. Relax, it's easy. You're easy win.
No, never is easy, man. That's poker. I play poker 13 years. Never is easy.
Kyle staring at his second disappointing finish here after having a big chip stack late.
Turn card is red, but it's a diamond, and that brings an abrupt close to Karanen's main event.
Pegamos ele, filho, vamos.
Kyle Karanen got caught by the bigger stack. Knocked out in 24th place.
He was 38th in 2012.
Cheers. Good luck.
He knows how to navigate these huge fields.
Good luck, guys.
Good game, man. Well played.
You too, man. Cheers.
I don't know what to say in English, but
it's not so correctly against him.
No, but I
know, but
I pray for me, okay? It's
you have a big hand against him.
That's my style. I'm sorry, that's my style.
Okay. Kara is with Kyle Karanen right now.
Kyle, you've been on the feature table so much. You've played with Ivy, Curtis Reistad. You've been the chip leader. Characterize the experience of this main event for us.
I mean, that's pretty tough. Pretty tough to say.
I mean, it was a good run. I mean, I thought I could do a little bit better than I did again this year, but you know, what are you going to do?
Well, you've been deep in this tournament before, again this year. So what do you take forwards to, you know, the next time when you want to come back and go deep in the main event?
Yeah, at this point, I'm just going to get some sleep, and maybe hopefully next year I'll have enough energy to get up and do it again.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
One of the biggest stars of this year's main event is gone. Nicely played, Kyle Karanen. While we were away, some eliminations to report. Jorryt Herringnard out in 23rd for almost 287 grand. And Iron Lightborn can go home to his cat, Princess, a lot richer now. Short stack Leaf Force may join the ranks of the eliminated if his King-Queen doesn't approve against the Ace-10 of Chris Graves.
Leaf Force push with 15 big blinds left. Graves, 39-year-old software developer.
And he probably knows he's a 60% favorite to win.
And I've got to tell you, my guy Leaf doesn't look like he wants to go home. He's suffering already.
Here's the flop and trip tens for Graves. Force did pick up a gut shot.
Leaf knows how tough it is to get this deep. He's done it before. Now he needs a lot of help to stop the suffering.
Turn card, 5 of hearts, no relief for Leaf Force. Chris Graves on the verge of a knockout.
Leaf Force has to have a jack.
The river is an 8, and a supremely disappointed Leaf Force has been knocked out of this main event. A second deep run, 21st place.
Yeah, like Brian Devonshire, the second time he's made the final 3 tables of the main event.
Leaf Force with another fine payday. He's got World Series earnings just shy of $2 million. Quite a call from Graves with ace-10. He was short stacked. Now, with 6 million chips, he's in 16th place.
I'm sure it's no consolation to Leaf, but I'd give him $75 for that satchel.
So the field continues to shrink as we go back to our featured table. 20 players now remain. 2 more knockouts. We'll see a $60,000 pay bump. So a bit of a bubble in play. Felix Stevenson has the action at this table. He looks down at ace-10 of diamonds. Stevenson with a raise to 350,000. Eddie Sabat now.
350 is the raise by Felix.
Sabat with 2 blackjacks.
Eddie lives in downtown LA. Nobody lives in downtown LA. It's like a scene out of Blade Runner down there.
He's got all 4 chip colors, which add up to about 8.2 million. And with those chips, Eddie makes the call.
Eddie lives in a loft. He doesn't have a dining room table, but he has a pool table, which I guess could double as a dining room table.
Yeah, it can. Why? What about that?
Oh, you do too?
No, I don't have a pool table. Jacobson in the big blind with 7-5 of hearts.
Getting 5.5 to 1 on a call here. It's irresistible.
And Martin will come along, channeling a little Mark Newhouse with 7-5 of hearts. 3 players will see the flop. Sabat with the best of it right now. The flop, deuce, tray 9. No improvement to any of them, so Eddie's jacks are still the hand to beat. Jacobson checks.
And Stevenson now in the process of a standard continuation bet per the North American Free Trade Agreement.
With ace high, 425. Sabat now with the best of it.
Sabat obsessed with the Clippers, and he walks to Staples Center. Nobody walks in LA. Jeez.
Just a call. Martin folds, so heads up now. Sabat a heavy favorite. Turn card, 7 of clubs, no help to Stevenson. And he now checks.
Time for pocket jacks to announce themselves.
No, he checks back.
No announcement?
No announcement. River card is an ace, and Stevenson gets there. Sabat gave him the red carpet to the river.
Yeah, that's not a good card for my fellow Angelino with the Lon McCarron Memorial hand over there, and Felix is going to try to cash in on his gift here.
Felix try to cash in for 575,000.
575. That bet stinks like day old lutefisk.
That's your boy from LA with the calling chips in hand.
This feels gross, like ace-10.
Eddie's ace-10 radar is spot on.
Yeah, but we know what happens when somebody calls out of hand.
They still call?
Yeah, we've seen that time and time again.
Maybe I let you get there.
You got that right.
Good read. Eddie
Yeah.
made the call.
That's what I felt like.
I just don't get it, Eddie. You make the right read and still call. I mean, I always make the wrong read and then call. That makes sense.
Stevenson now right on the chip average with 20 players left into 7th place. His bet and Sabat's call of his hand are tonight's gentleman jack right move. Eddie knew what Felix's hand was, but he couldn't fold the jack.
This feels gross like ace-10. Maybe I'll let you get there.
Got a good read.
A nice value bet proved irresistible.
This bet's so small, it was perfect.
Day 7 of the main event continues right after this. Like them or not, there were a lot of different kinds of shades in the room.
I don't have to like them, and I do not.
I do like Dan Smith's sunglasses. Just saying, folded to the talented Mr. Smith with ace-king suited.
He's such a lonely, imposing presence.
He is indeed. A raise to $350,000. Billy Pappas, queen 6 of diamonds on the button. He'll give it up to the small blind, Jorryt van Hoof with 4s.
Van Hoof started a Dutch poker training website. Smith has done training videos for multiple training sites. My hunch is Van Hoof is more student-friendly.
But we do expect this hand to be played perfectly. Van Hoof with a re-raise to $900,000 to Tonking now in the big blind. A lot of new chips to take care of, and he will fold. So back to Smith.
That's 900. Did you start with 6 million?
See for yourself, punk.
Still 7 stacks of green.
Yep. Tough cross-examination.
Thank you.
The prosecution now calls tournament director Jack Effel to the stand.
2 pretty even stacks. Van Hoof with a slight advantage. Yeah, with ace-king suited, a 4-bet to over $1.8 million.
It's a facial hair showdown at the Aggro Corral.
Van Hoof now with the decision.
All in.
He re-raises Smith all in.
The 5-bet.
Call.
Smith calls. They're flipping for 13 milli and Dan's tournament.
Wow. But these are 2 deep stacks, putting a lot of chips at risk pre-flop. Pocket 4s. I don't care if it's ace-king suited. It's just a drawing hand. I should be making the training videos, Lon.
Boy, neither looks like they wanted it to come to that, but here we are.
I hope so.
I know you do, buddy.
We saw it in Lee Force's body language earlier, and you can see it now in Dan Smith. The pain of the moment, and what a massive moment in this tournament.
At least we're having fun, right?
It is fun.
Here's the flop. Deuce, tray 8, no spades, no ace, no king.
Dan Smith on edge.
Pretty much all or nothing at all for both players in this hand. Turn card, the queen of spades. Dan still in need. Van Hoof on the verge of a huge win.
Dan Smith doesn't want to look at it. He's looking for an ace or a king.
The river. Another trade. Dan Smith is out. Van Hoof takes the pot.
It was a pleasure, guys. A lot of fun.
Smith a force anytime he plays, and always a threat to end up with all the chips.
For Dan Smith, an excellent run, but one that he surely thinks should still be going. Dutch pro Jorryt van Hoof takes out the very dangerous Dan Smith. He's got 85 big blinds. That puts him in 5th place.
One man celebrates and one man suffers.
Dan Smith earns almost $287,000. First-timer Tom Serra Jr., the wildest of wild cards left, squaring off against Vegas pro Dan Sindelar. Tom checked his open-ended straight draw. Sindelar bet, and now Serra calls. Turn card, 6 of diamonds. Sindelar still ahead. Serra checks again.
This is Sindelar's 7th straight year playing in the main event and his first cash.
They both check. Queen of spades. Sindelar pairs up. Serra first to act. And he's the one reaching for chips.
Well, he knows he can't win at showdown, so he'll take a shot here.
$560,000.
And Serra's a bit unlucky. If the river weren't a king or a queen, Sindelar probably goes away. Sindelar wondering what can Serra possibly have, and I think the answer is nothing.
And there is a raise from Sindelar to almost $1.5 million.
It's a little rich for 8 high blood.
Raise.
And Sarah announces a re-raise.
I think he meant to say fold, and it just came out wrong.
So now how much will this re-raise be?
Every time I think this guy's a fish, he shows us shark's teeth.
Wow. Sarah puts in almost half of his remaining stack.
And if Sindelar had just called the original bet, the pot would be his. Now he's got a big decision.
Bet 560, you probably have 5
million. Is he on to a tell? And there you go. Sindelar gives it up. What a play by Sarah.
Well played, Tom Sarah Jr.
Despite that hit, though, Dan Sindelar remains the chip leader of the main event.
But if he keeps getting outplayed by first-timers, he won't be chip leader for long.
Tom Sarah Jr. from a small town in Ohio, but capable of big bluffs.
I think everyone in Jorryt, Ohio just walks around bluffing everyone else.
Like Sarah, Scott Mahan playing in his first main event.
Now, he's from Elk Point, South Dakota. Nobody there bluffs. Those are hard-working, honest people.
And like Sarah and Mahan, Billy Pappas playing in his first main event.
Foosball professional, part-time poker dealer, and maybe first-time November Niner.
19 players remaining, some of them competing in their first ever main event. Among them, Sarah and Pappas are in the top 10. And 10th place, still major news, Mark Newhouse.
Steve G remarkably finished 24th last year in his bid for back-to-back November 9s. Mark Newhouse now has gone further.
Bottom half of the field, Mann and Palmer are short-stacked.
For Scott and Scott, it's double up or go home.
Kara Scott spoke with Mark Newhouse earlier.
So, Mark, how surreal is it starting to get for you being here again? This is the last day before the final table.
I mean, I don't know if it's hit me yet. I'm honestly feeling very relaxed. Just I'm in a good position, and feel like I'm gonna get there.
Do you think the other players look at you any differently because you did make it last year?
I'm sure some of them have respect for me. Some of them think I'm lucky. You know, it's. But they know, at least I have this experience, so they know all this isn't going to faze me.
Thanks so much, Mark.
Yep.
3 tables in action now. When we get to 18 players, we'll combine to 2 tables. Newhouse with 2 big stacks on his left.
Does that look like a guy who cares about big stacks? I don't think so.
Andrei Zychenko is on the opposite end of the big stacks.
Does that look like a guy who cares about big stacks? Actually, you know, he might.
The blinds at 100,000, 200,000 with a 30K ante. Zychenko, the Moscow poker pro, has over 650,000 in World Series earnings alone. He raises to 450 with ace-5 of clubs.
Weak suited aces are all the rage in Russia.
Eddie Sabat, 10-jack suited, folds to Craig McCorkle, 28-year-old British pro.
He was 172nd in the 2012 main event.
9-5 off. A little camera time before the fold. Mark Newhouse on the button. King-Queen.
Newhouse puts the Cas in casual.
Yeah. And he calls for 450,000. Bruno Politano, trade deuce, the amateur from Brazil.
Politano had a job interview this morning at a local Franciscan monastery.
He's the big stack at this table with almost 19 million chips.
It's trade deuce, right?
Yeah.
Gone.
Yep. In the big blind, Martin Jacobson, a talented Swedish pro living in London with 8-7 off.
Jacobson is a bargain hunter. He spends most Tuesday mornings at Tuesday mornings.
Very nice. He makes the call. 3 players will see a flop. Anybody's pot right now. Ace high best at the moment. Here's the flop. King, Queen, 8. Top 2 for Mark Newhouse. Bottom pair for Jacobson. He checks. Zychenko misses.
Newhouse actually disappointed he didn't pick up a heart or spade draw on the flop.
That's the way he's been running in this main event. Zychenko, as I said, missed, but he's the one with chips in hand. He bet 650,000.
There is a grassroots movement to rename the main event the Mark Newhouse Invitational.
Yeah, it just might be if he can pull this one off. He just calls with top 2. Jacobson folds, so now we're heads up. And Zychenko in big trouble. Turn card, 7 of diamonds. Zychenko drawing dead now.
Good fold from Jacobson. He would have made 2 pair and been drawing thin. Zychenko, a poker pro, used to work in sales. Finished 232nd in the 2012 main event.
Boy, I said he's drawing dead, but some dead men do have heart. 1,150,000.
Well, Zaychenko graduated from Moscow State University, majoring in squadouche.
And now Mark Newhouse with King, Queen. The unbeatable hand just calls.
Well, Newhouse says, fine, I'll let you lead me to the pot of gold.
River card now. 9 of clubs. Can Zaychenko continue with his charade?
I have a feeling that after this main event, the weak-suited ace rage will slowly grind to a halt in Russia.
He does wave the white flag.
Top 2 feels like it's the stone-cold nuts in this spot.
$1.8 million from Newhouse. Zaychenko wants to give this some thought.
Well, Zaychenko with some Hollywood here, though Newhouse is the one who looks like he lives near Hollywood.
Zaychenko knows Mark can get creative in hand selection, but Zaychenko with a below-average chip stack cannot continue. He does fold. Mark Newhouse getting stronger. Main event history beckons.
Lon, Newhouse is 29, nothing against him, but if he lives to be 2,900, I'd have to figure he doesn't make another November 9.
What Mark Newhouse is doing at this main event is shocking. And here's what you said you'd do if Newhouse made back-to-back final tables. Zip line across the Grand Canyon with Mike Matusow on your back and walk the entire Las Vegas Strip barefoot singing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Crazy, right?
Yeah, so what? He hasn't made back-to-back main event final tables yet, has he? And if he does, you can add this to your list. I'll climb the Eiffel Tower in a plaid toga while eating a bag of pommes frites. You cannot make 2 final tables in a row against fields of 6,000 plus. It is a statistical improbability. It is a metaphysical improbability. And it is a sociobiological improbability. It cannot be done, and it will not be done.
So you're saying there's a chance. There's a look at the payouts. 19 left, 10 million to our champ this year. To an outer table, Scott Palmer, 24-year-old poker pro from Maryland, shoved with deuces, only to run into the aces of Chris Graves, an amateur from the Indianapolis area.
Palmer shoved with 22 big blinds left.
The 2 short stacks at this table. 9 tray 4. Not much going on there for Palmer.
Palmer doubled up earlier on day 7 with ace tray versus pocket queens. This is even a tougher task.
The turned card is another tray, so Palmer is going to have to hit on the river or say goodbye.
Lon, if we have an emotional outburst at the end of this hand, I would be shocked. Palmer needs a deuce to stick around.
It's another tray, boat over boat. My card room calls that a shipwreck, but Scott Palmer is gone from the main event in 19th place.
Boy, that felt like a couple of research librarians exchanging lab notes. There's a big difference you just mentioned between 19th place and, say, first place money, right?
Huge indeed. Palmer wins almost $287,000, and the redraw will begin soon. Graves almost doubles up. He sits now with almost 10 million. So while they get ready to move and get the redraw going, we do have another hand in progress. Foosballer Billy Pappas leads after the flop at 2 pair. Luis Velador with ace-king suited and the 5s on board looking to pair up.
Velador, a double bracelet winner, the oldest player left in the field at age 51.
Pappas checked. Velador bets 400,000.
The foosball pro against the poker pro.
Pappas will come along with the best hand. Turn card now. Tray of diamonds now gets a little interesting. Pappas still ahead. Velador with a flush draw.
Pappas was hyper-aggressive on day 6, but today he says he's playing like a pansy.
They both check. Free river card, tray of spades, and Velador does come up short. Pappas's rail has been very active, very supportive of their man. Billy with the best hand. Does he know it? Looks like he wants to explore the possibilities. 700,000.
I'm a little surprised with that bet, Lon. It just opens the door to a raise that I don't think he wants to face.
Velador does make the call.
Luis thought ace high was good there.
But Pappas will take it with a better 2 pair. And the main event rookie showing the wily veteran how it's done. Pappas crests the 12 million chip mark here on day 7.
All right, case in point, he bet we won. He stacked chips.
The first timers are outmaneuvering the many timers.
Billy Pappas with a nice pop to his stack just before the redraw into 7th place. We've got a change of scenery coming for our remaining 18 players. We're going back to 9-handed play. A new dynamic for everyone as the chase for $10 million and the bracelet continues. 18 players left at the main event. Half of them will make the November 9, and there's a look at the remaining players.
I hope we get a better camera angle than that, Lon. That's pretty distant.
Politano and Sindelar, the biggest stacks at their respective table. Average stack on the room, about 11 million.
Each table has a chip leader, and each table has a short stack. Back to you, Lon.
More world-class analysis from Norman Chad, ladies and gentlemen.
This isn't a contract year. I can coast from time to time.
And there is the beautiful main event championship bracelet, worthy of any red carpet anywhere. To the featured table, 9-handed play again. Luis Velador, King, Queen, and a raise to $400,000.
Half of the remaining 18 players will go home with at least $347,000 and be incredibly disheartened.
Greg McCorkle on the button.
McCorkle's got a Carlos Mortensen, Ram Vaswani look.
Wow, good call. You were right. He folds to the small blind. Mark Newhouse, 8-6 suited. So we'll just call this a river flush and move on. He makes the call in the big blind. Tom Serra Jr. He will not play.
Well, old friends, new table mates.
First hand we've ever played together?
Far from it. 8-4 Jack, no diamonds, but middle pair for Mark. Velador misses. Mark checks.
These two longtime LA cash game grinders at Commerce Casino.
Velador continues with a bet of $425.
And Mark thinking, I got a piece of that flop. Why don't I call?
Over $2 million in the middle now. Turn card. 10 of hearts. Velador open-ended, plus those 3 hearts are not a happy sight for either one of these guys.
Yeah, board's getting a little scarier, like Russell Brand confronting some paparazzi.
Newhouse checks, Velador checks. River card, tray of clubs doesn't help matters any. Newhouse checks again. Luis. Oh. He checks back. And the pair of 8s will bring him the pot.
Velador tried to bluff once, got called, and gave up. That's the story of my no-limit hold'em life.
Mark Newhouse now with over 13.5 million chips. Another hand, another pot for this LA pro. If he gets to the final table again, he's planning on a different result.
Last year was very exciting. First time I've been that deep. I feel like I played pretty well leading up to the final table and wasn't really prepared to finish 9th.
The river card, the 6 of diamonds, and Mark Newhouse is out in 9th.
You know, I told myself whatever happens, happens, and I wouldn't be disappointed, but finishing 9th was very disappointing. I would almost say finishing 9th might be worse emotionally than finishing 10th. I don't want to finish 9th again. After last year, I think everyone knows who I am. I don't know if they watched the coverage last year. Maybe I looked like, you know, I squeezed my way in and I was playing tighter, but I think they all know what the deal is this year. I'm feeling great. This whole tournament, I've been feeling very relaxed. You know, there's a lot on the line, but I'm out there having fun playing poker.
He felt pressure last year. He feels relaxed this year. Life is good for Mark Newhouse.
Felix Stevenson opened under the gun with King, Queen. Newhouse in the cutoff with Ace, Queen makes the call. Tom Serra on the button with Ace-7. He folds to Bruno Politano. 5 tray off.
Politano's hobbies include playing soccer and taking a long time before folding 5 tray off.
Boy, if he's looking for TV time, he should remove the hoodie. He does fold to Semth, who quickly folds a better hand than Bruno had. So heads up, Stevenson and Newhouse.
Well, Felix puts his hoodie on to protect himself from Mark Newhouse.
Here is the flop. 5, Queen, Deuce, a queen for both, but it's Newhouse with top kicker.
Imagine waking up every morning and having your favorite breakfast waiting for you. That's what Mark has when he enters a pot, Lon. The flop is right there waiting for him.
And look at this, Stevenson putting chips into the middle. 425.
Can't blame Stevenson for that bet.
Newhouse just calls.
Mark always tosses his chips in as if to say, if I get them back, I get them back.
Turn card now. Jack of spades. Newhouse is still best. Stevenson now checks.
Well, Felix either knew to slow down or he wants Mark to fire out.
It is hard to slow this guy down. A bet of 800,000.
Actually, why am I trying to read Felix's mind? I can't even read my own mind.
To Stevenson now, 23-year-old poker pro from Oslo, Norway, who lives in London now.
I think he's going to check here.
Too late for that. He's got top pair, nearly great kicker, and he makes the call.
Oh, he couldn't check there, right? It was either a fold or a bet or a call or a raise.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. Go to the Norman Chad School of Poker. River is a 6 of diamonds, so Newhouse officially best. Stevenson checks again.
Newhouse is going to bet 1.5 million here.
Wow, that's pretty close. $1,250,000.
I'm within $250,000. That's right for me.
I like your bet better. Stevenson with top pair and the king kicker.
I believe he's going to put 1.25 million out into that pot. I would stake your reputation on it, Lon.
That's not very much. There it is. And he can say goodbye to that 1.25 million and more. Mark Newhouse takes another pot.
Newhouse played that one to perfection. He got chips out of his opponent on every street.
Well, that's Mark's main event in a nutshell. Over 17 million into fourth place, solidifying his spot in poker history with every pot he drags. So as Mark Newhouse makes his way towards this year's November 9, we wondered where it would rank among previous back-to-back final tables. 8 players have done it since 1980. Just 2 did it back-to-back-to-back, Johnny Chan and Jesse Alto.
Well, here's the thing. The main event these days gets really serious when you get down to about 200 players. In Johnny Chan's day, the main event started with less than 200 players.
The bracelet and Mark Newhouse together. It could happen. Folded to Newhouse. Queen tray of clubs.
Garbage.
He loves to have chips. He loves to push them around. He raises the 425 with his garbage.
The last time I played Queen Tray, the parking valet pulled up my car for me to go home by the time we got to the flop.
Had nothing to do with your previous results. Stevenson again now. 8-7. He folds. Big blind Velador will make the call with king queen off.
So it's another traveling Commerce Casino showdown.
All right, these two heads up again. The flop, Jack 9 queen, top pair again for both, but this time Newhouse has the short end of the stick. Velador checks it to Mark.
Yeah, what do you do with Queen Tray here, huh? Huh?
Check.
That was a good check.
King's up now for Velador, but he can't get too happy with all those straight cards out there.
I'm surprised he didn't bet that flop, and I'm not surprised he's checking here.
Mark checks back. River card. Another 9. Velador's 2 pair stronger than Newhouse's 2 pair. 350 from Luis.
Just 350?
How'd he resist?
Yeah, I might make a curiosity killed the cat call right here.
Okay.
Okay. And Mark's loss is Luis's game.
Velador bled 350,000 out of his LA pal there on the river.
Not calling much more.
I knew that. Let's not bet that.
Luis Velador gets the best of his buddy Mark Newhouse, but he doesn't get much this time around. Time now for Event 7 of the Side Action Championship.
In tonight's event, players will attempt to throw cards into a hat. Each player gets 15 seconds to toss as many cards as he can into the hat from 8 feet away. The player who throws the most cards in the hat wins. This hat is
the exact hat worn by Wild Bill Hickok the night he had aces and eights in Deadwood. JRB will be first. 3, 2, 1, go.
Where's Chris Ferguson when you need him?
That's what I said. Oh, he hit the lip. He lipped it.
5, 4,
So far, that's
3,
none.
2, 1, done.
Perfect.
Look, let me go check. Let me go check.
Ah.
0.
I hit the hat once.
3, 2, 1, go.
None, none, none. Oh!
Told you you'd get one.
Nice, nice, nice. It's gotta go in. It's gotta go in.
5,
got one in
4,
there
3, 2, 1, done.
You got one.
You got one early, and that could be a winner.
I didn't get the bagel.
3, 2, 1, go.
He's won
Yeah,
3
you're
laps
allowed
already.
You're allowed. You got it, my
Mike, you got it. You can do it. Stay in the
laughing
zone.
at me.
Can you see the hat?
Mikey, you're laughing pretty hard at me, buddy. You're over here dying.
4, 3, 2,
Miracles
1.
do happen.
Done. And you got one to
Do
tie
you believe in
Cherry
miracles?
Bomb.
Good technique, kid.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, look at this, a new style. One is in. He needs one to win.
You're revolutionizing the sport.
Oh my God, he's choking. He's choking. He's choking, ladies and gentlemen.
3, 2, 1.
Oh,
You won!
he got the bounce.
I gotta see a replay of that.
No way.
Wow.
No way. Bounced in. I mean, really?
Skipped in the winner.
Like a basketball player shooting his free throws underhanded.
Wow. He skipped in the winner.
A buzzer beater for the poker brat. Dom Perignon for everyone. Still anyone's game there except JRB. All right, secondary table. Andrei Zychenko, ace, jack. Dan Sindelar opened under the gun for 450 with pocket eights. And Zychenko says all in for over 2.6 million.
13 big blinds left for Zychenko. I think he would have preferred to push with a weak ace.
Well, no takers for his shove so far to the big blind, Martin Jacobson. He gives it up back to Sindelar now. And he will call to put Zaya at risk.
Dan, what do you got?
Eights versus ace jack.
Another Soviet-American clash, reminiscent in my mind of the Cuban Missile Crisis of '62, Lon.
Zychenko, the one at risk. He needs to improve his ace jack. Here's the flop, deuce, trey, queen, all spades. Zaya with a flush draw now.
Zychenko actually now favored to survive 2 overs and the spade draw.
Turn card. King of hearts, Zaya adds a straight draw to his menu of outs.
Red Mallard.
Chris Johnson, Sindelar's buddy, recently knocked out of the main event.
Zychenko picks up 3 more outs. The Cold War edging towards nuclear.
The river card. Yeah! 9 of spades. He hits his flush.
Someone call the State Department.
Zychenko will stick around. Dan Sindelar takes the flesh wound in stride. Zychenko doubles to almost 6 million. He's got 29 big blinds, though. For Andrei Zychenko, the decision to move all in is the gentleman jack right move. Sindelar makes the easy call, but when the board ran out, Zychenko was back in business. Andrei's still with a seat, still with a chance at $10 million US.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high roller bowl 7 champion.
Oh, yeah.
Wheels are coming off. That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that fight?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
While Mark Newhouse's historic run is the biggest story, the impressive performances of our remaining first-timers also big news. Scott Mann is a construction supervisor from Elk Point, South Dakota, who had exactly 0 posted tournament results before the main event.
Here's a news flash. Scott Mann is not on Twitter. Come on, they gotta have Twitter in Elk Point by now. Next thing you're gonna tell me is that he's not even on Instagram.
Mann was dealt Queen 8 suited, and Doni Larabe from Spain mid-raised under the gun with pocket nines, Mann in the big blind. And he calls for 200 grand more.
How much are you playing? Like 3 million behind?
Yeah, close to it.
Flop 7, jack 6. Flush draw for Mann. Pocket nines are still best for Larabe. Mann checks.
Larabe, youngest player left in the field at 22. Mann, second oldest at 47.
Larabe, 22 years old, already his second main event. He bets 450,000.
All in.
And Scott is all in for almost 2.8 million, and Larabe folds immediately.
They keep picking on the donkeys, and the donkeys keep kicking back. Mann showing no fear, willing to get it all in with a big draw, and he gets Larabe to lay down the best hand.
I have a lot of people behind you. Where are you from?
South Dakota, Elk Point, South Dakota.
Cadê o Igor?
They
couple guys, them guys over there flew in.
Mayen making a name for himself here at the main event and also for the place he calls home.
Elk Point's about 1,500 people. It's a very, very hometown. Everybody knows everybody. It's a very nice little small, quaint community. There is no poker community down there. It's just local guys play once in a while. But I've watched the World Series Poker for as long as it's been on and always thought about playing in it, but I could never afford it. And a friend of mine came in my bar one day and he says, we got to do this. We'll find some investors. And I asked some other friends and they said, yeah, let's do it.
All in?
It did not hit me until I saw the painting on the stairs in the front of the reel. And I looked at my girl and says, we're here. There's the World Series of Poker. This is the reel. When I walked through the doors and saw all the people, it was crazy. That was just mind-blowing. To have all them people in one area, one building, it was just astounding how big it was. But then when you get to a room, it's a poker tournament. It's still just poker players playing against each other, and I'm one of them. When I sat down at the table, I got calm. Before and after was when it was nerve-wracking for me. But as soon as I hit the table, then I was fine, because then I could relax and play cards. I don't know how deep I'll go, but if I get any farther, it's just gravy.
What I love about Elk Point, one elementary school, one middle school, one high school, one zip code, no traffic.
And Scooby-Doo's in the house.
My Scooby-Doo's coming.
I didn't know Scooby-Doo was big in Brazil.
Yeah, Bruno. How much money are you spending on them every day? Nah, just kidding.
Going to spend a little more money. Scott Mayen already has made fairy tale money. Doesn't seem to fear being knocked out. Ace King here.
Elk Point's motto is where South Dakota begins. The Lewis and Clark expedition made camp in Elk Point in 1804. Lewis and Clark, that had to be a good heads up.
So with Ace King, still the short stack at this table, a raise to $450,000 from Mayen. Folded around to Mark Newhouse. Jack and King.
Newhouse born in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Chapel Hill's motto, the southern part of heaven. That would make Silver Spring, Maryland, I believe, the northern part of heaven.
Well played, sir. And a re-raise from Newhouse to $1 million. Another first-timer, Tom Serra, kicks it in. Politano now, Scooby-Doo's trainer.
Newhouse tries to push everyone around, so Mayen shouldn't take it personally here.
Folded to the big blind, Max Semph.
This guy's trying to fold his way to the final table. Isn't going to happen on my watch.
Back to Mayen.
He plays poker at Grand Falls Casino in Larchwood, Iowa. Their motto, we're not the commerce.
I'm all in.
And he says all in. Back at you, Mark.
Mayen all in for his last 20 big blinds.
Newhouse with a much, much bigger stack. But how much does he feel like risking in this situation?
Well, this would be for more than 1/4 of Mark's stack, and Mark knows he's behind.
And Mark does fold and donates $1 million to the Scott Mayen Poker Fund.
More chips for zip code 57025.
A nice bump to his stack without a flop. Vicky Morgan, Scott's fiance, loves it. Up to 16th place.
Hey, Brian Davis, I want you to wear one of them.
Yeah, that one won't fit.
Scott Mayen soaking this experience in. Scooby-Doo isn't on his rail, but everyone in Elk Point, South Dakota is. Back at the Rio, 18 players remain. The current payout about $350,000. First place worth $10 million. Get back to the featured table now. Scott Mayen still a short stack, must tread wisely.
5 amateurs remain. Mayen, Tom Serra Jr., Billy Pappas, Chris Graves, and Bruno Politano.
That's eating a lot, eating big on the dinner break is a big rookie mistake. You'll come back and be
You're
tired.
just a lazy bum.
Yeah.
Ace-9 suited for Mark.
God, that's the only time I eat. It's the only time. I don't eat in the mornings. I'm so nervous, and I don't eat at night after I get home. That's the only thing I do is run to that thing up there and get a sandwich.
Newhouse may be right, but Lon, I see you eating before, during, and after every break.
I love my food. Politano, kind of a half pro, half amateur. He does have a full-time job down in Brazil.
Max Semph has pulled off the remarkable feat of making the final 2 tables and never playing a hand.
He does fold to big blind Felix Stevenson. Stevenson looks down at Ace King offsuit.
He once worked as a telemarketer for 3 days, and Felix says that was 4 days over his limit.
Mostly plays online. A raise from Newhouse in front of him. And with the ace-king, there's a re-raise to $1,000,001.
The Mark Newhouse Invitational has hit a speed bump here. He's again run into a bigger hand. And advanced sabermetrics indicate that Newhouse is behind pre-flop heads up 77.3% of the time, except at his home game, where home felt advantage gives him a WAR and OPS comparable to Mike Trout.
Now, who didn't know that? Oh, a stack of beige worth $5 million more.
Oh, that is likely an ill-timed 4-bet from Mark Newhouse, and a big one.
5.4 and a quarter.
Stevenson all in. Mark getting priced in. Not brimming with confidence. Stevenson favored to jump way up the leaderboard.
Yeah, that feels like oops for Mark Newhouse. His November 9 seat just got pushed further away. Stevenson began this hand with 35 big blinds. He's in great position to double up to a nice stack.
Let's go. And a huge portion of Mark's stack in the middle as well. Here is the flop. King, queen, jack, top pair for Stevenson, both with the same Broadway draw.
Stevenson will take that flop every time. Newhouse would need running nines to knock him out.
The turn card now is an 8, no help to Mark. He can only chop this pot now at best.
Yeah, Felix has survived his all-in. They'd chop the pot if a river 10 came to give them both an ace-high straight.
The river card is a deuce, changes nothing. Stevenson with a big double up, and he and Newhouse will pretty much swap spots on the leaderboard.
Well, we know that Mark Newhouse can be spewy. That was spewy.
Yeah, he takes a nearly 50% battering to his stack. On our player tracker, you see that Stevenson vaults all the way up from 13th place to 4th as a result of that win. A major hit to Newhouse's stack there, and maybe his final table chances. Here are Phil Locke and Antonio Esfandiari with what went wrong.
Mark Newhouse, a.k.a. New Hizzle Shizzle, dizzily played the ace-9 of hearts in a funky-dunky way.
Okay, Phil. Whatever he said. Anyway, I think the point that we should all take away from this is, look, you don't want to give up your power of position. And I think that given that Mark has a 2-1 chip lead on Felix, and he has a hand that can connect with the flop and can play well after the flop, especially in position, I don't want to re-raise and put myself in a situation where I don't get to take advantage of that.
Your hand just turns into spaghetti when you pop it out like that. It's just call.
Right. And if you're going to raise, I don't know if I like the size of his raise. He's basically committing his whole stack and saying, look, we're playing for it all. And of course, Felix isn't going anywhere with ace-king. So just, I think calling in position is a better play in the long run for sure.
Felix Stevenson on the receiving end of a Mark Newhouse overplay. Will that be the hand that undoes Newhouse? More main event after this. Welcome back to the World Series of Poker main event telecast, presented by Gentleman Jack. Back to the featured table. And how about them apples? Almost $348,000 is the reward for going broke in this game. There are no losers at this point. Larabe under the gun, ace-king of diamonds, a raise to $400,000.
We just saw Mark Newhouse bleed some chips away. When we get this deep, you're always wondering who is going to blow up. There's often one fatal misstep just before the final table. Scotty Wynn, famously in 07, Billy Kopp in 09 come to mind.
For most of our remaining players, this is by far the biggest cash of their poker careers. Really heady stuff.
You cannot fold your way to a main event bracelet. Not before, not now, not never.
Synth disagrees. On the button, Felix Stevenson gives it up as well. Velador out in the big blind. Mayan with 10-8 off.
He's getting almost 5-1 to call, but sometimes I think you just move on to the next hand.
Or call.
Or call.
Heads up, ace-king versus 10-8. And here is the flop 6, 10-8. Mayan scores top 2. But hang on, Larabe picks up a diamond flush draw.
Action flop lawn like in the movies.
Mayan.
Yeah, Scott likes it, trying to figure out how to play it.
Well, checks his 2 pair.
Larabi won the Poker Stars Caribbean Adventure 5K in 2013, beating Justin Bonomo heads up for $218,000.
Larabi, a young one, but a talented one. He bets $550,000.
Mayan spins his card protector while his mind spins with the possibilities here.
He needs chips. He needs to be careful as one of the short stacks.
Raise.
He says raise.
Scott Mayan and Tom Serra Jr. are wolves in sheep's clothing.
A check raise to $1,550,000.
Mayan and Serra are nice guys, but they're off my home game list. You're always invited, Lon.
Oh, thanks. And now, Larabi with his nut flush draw.
All in.
And Donnie re-raises Mayan all in.
I call.
And here we go. Scott makes the call.
Now, Larabi didn't expect to see two pair. He probably figured Mayan for a pair or a straight draw. 3/4 of Larabi's chips are in the middle.
But it is Scott Mayan, the one at risk. If he can avoid disaster, over 11 million chips are his. And his fiance can't bear to watch.
My second wife couldn't watch me either, so we have that in common. Well done by Mayan, but you can see his nerves here.
Scummy, man.
Your heart is...
And the ace of clubs, Larabi now with top pair. That doubles his outs.
One time. I have not asked for it all.
You saved it?
All tournament.
You saved it?
One time. I have not asked for it all tournament. Just played. One time.
It's not.
Scott Mayan does not want to exit this dream stage.
The river card is a diamond! Larabi scores the flush to knock out Scott Mayan.
And just like that, Scott Mayan is done.
I appreciate it.
A game-changing win for Larabi.
Vamos ahí, llegado la Buda.
A game-ending river card for Mayan.
Well played. Thank you.
Well played, Scott Mayan.
Thanks.
And Larabi now into 7th place with over 13 million.
What a run.
Oh.
I love you too. Oh, what a run. You got it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Scott got it in good. He had a 2-to-1 chance of doubling up and becoming a true final table contender, but the River Diamond sends him back to Elk Point, South Dakota. He's with Kara Scott right now.
Scott, you've really entered the poker world with a bang. Talk to us about what this means for you.
It's surreal. It's gonna afford me some things to do that I couldn't normally do, and I don't know. It just means a lot to our family.
You've had so many people in your hometown of Elk Point, South Dakota, watching along, cheering along, sharing the experience with you. What would you want to say to them?
Oh, thank you very much, because I've had thousands of Facebook posts, and they come to my phone for the last 3 days, and they've all supported me. Everybody, my friends flew in from a couple of them, 3 of them flew in last night to be here today. My mom and dad have been here the whole time, and my girl. So it means a lot to everybody, and I thank them all so much.
Does something like this give you the poker bug? Do you want to go out there and play again?
Yeah, I think this might afford me a little bit of breathing room. I might be able to play in some more tournaments, and I want to play in some more tournaments, but it's the couple of the guys that came invested in me, so I don't think I'll probably have too much problem having them invest in me again to help me out, so it'll be pretty good.
Thanks so much for talking to us. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's what the World Series is really all about.
Indeed, we like to say anyone can win. Anyone can also be devastated. My heart goes out to the first timer. What a great run. What a great job, Scott.
Scott Mayan out of the main event, but along the way, he made Elk Point, South Dakota very proud. Back to action in the white sweatshirt. Dutchman Jorryt van Hoof was dealt 10-6 of clubs in the big blind. With pocket aces in early position, Andrei Zaichenko raised to $450,000.
Van Hoof is thinking, this guy's capable of raising with 9 deuce. My 10-6 might be good here.
Yeah, and he does call for $250,000 more. Van Hoof happy to take on the much shorter stack. And here is the flop. 9, 8, 7. Oh, goodness. Van Hoof flopped perfect. A 10 high straight.
Brutally bad fortune for Zychenko here, particularly at this stage of the main event.
No slow playing from Van Hoof. Why slow play it? He bets 550.
Well, not the greatest flop for aces, but Zychenko still should feel comfortable, and I wouldn't be shocked to see him push here.
Zychenko cutting out chips for the call. Van Hoof loves to see any chips go into the pot from Andre. Turn card, 4 of diamonds. Zychenko now drawing dead.
Van Hoof, 31 years old. This is his 4th World Series cash.
And now he checks.
Gotta love that check from Van Hoof, Lon. That 4 of diamonds is such a benign card, and Van Hoof's slowed down here, so Zychenko certainly might shove in this spot.
Well, just $1,075,000. He's trying to milk Van Hoof, and the shoe's on the other foot.
You're right. Well, Van Hoof got what he wanted. He still wants to get the rest of Zychenko's chips if he can.
Gauging Zychenko's determination, I guess, is Van Hoof.
1.
And now he puts Zychenko all in.
Zychenko didn't expect that. He's got 4.8 million chips left, 24 big blinds. And if he calls here, he's done.
Zychenko calls, and now he can call for a cab. His main event is over.
That is the sickest poker feeling imaginable, to call all in and see you're drawn dead.
In any language, getting your aces cracked is an awful feeling. Van Hoof took a flyer with 10-6 and ends up on the heels of the main event chip leader. Zychenko out in 17th.
If you're gonna go bust, Van Hoof seems like a pretty nice guy to bust you.
Zychenko shaking the hand of his vanquisher. Van Hoof almost giddy as he moves into second place with almost 21 million chips after cracking the aces of Zychenko.
Need some luck on this situation, and if the ace is correct, what could I do? It's not for money. I need a bracelet. I want to be a number 9. I want to play with final table. It's my goal, but I have not obtained it.
So Van Hoof moves into second place on the leaderboard, but it is Scott Mann who is our DraftKings.com King of the Night.
Elated, kind of relieved. It's done, but I wanted to go a little farther. I cannot complain about anything.
We're gonna go get a paycheck.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to be able to afford me to play some tournaments, some more tournaments that I want to do really bad. It is life-changing money. It'll help anything. You know, I'll have a savings account for once.
347, 521. All right, see you guys next year. That's for sure.
I think we're going to have a hell of a party when we get home.
Who's your father?
I've never met him in my entire life.
Good luck, everybody.
I think he's a Chargers fan. My hat.
Can you name a single Chargers player?
I can name a lot of them.
Okay.
Rivers, Tolbert, Keenan Allen.
So you said you randomly picked the hat?
I didn't randomly pick the hat. I went to a game there last year.
2 tables of 8 remain. Brazilian Bruno Politano, Queen 8.
Politano randomly picked this hoodie out of a Ross dress for less.
4th place overall, but the biggest stack at this table with a raise to $455,000. On the button, Max Sempt.
I haven't seen this man play a hand in 7 days.
$10 million to this year's champ to be awarded live on ESPN Tuesday. To the Charger fan, NFL fan, Felix Stevenson, ace-5 of diamonds.
Well, I hate to call out Felix. He named 3 Chargers, but one of them, Mike Tolbert, has been with the Carolina Panthers since 2012. So when Felix went to a game last year and got the Chargers hat, Tolbert wasn't even with the Chargers.
Stevenson in the small blind. And with the suited ace, he has some of the beige chips in hand. Those are the big ones. A re-raise to $1,125,000. Big blind Luis Velador folds. So back to Politano now.
According to the scouting report, Bruno likes to open pots, but if you come over the top of him, he doesn't like calling or re-raising with marginal hands. This is a marginal hand at best.
But he did just go back and recheck his cards. That's a sign of a big hand, I'm told.
Who told you that?
One of our producers said that's gospel. But look at this. Politano sticking around, more than sticking around, a 4-bet to $2,380,000.
I've got to get new scouts. It's that simple.
So now Stevenson, who started the hand, with just under $14 million.
Stevenson plays mostly pot limit Omaha online, but he's taking the no limit hold'em pretty well.
And it looks like Stevenson is sticking around as well. And there is a 5-bet Norman to $3,635,000.
Wow, that's like the old Chargers. Dan Fouts just throwing bombs on first down in the first quarter. And 5-bet, as you said. If I were Politano, I would have snap-folded my hand twice by now.
Yep, it's that kind of moment here in the Amazon room.
Well, I don't know if this is Hollywooding to save some face, or if Bruno can possibly have one more bluffing gear in him.
Neither of these guys willing to give up. Politano, the original raiser.
Oh, wow.
Oh, reaching for chips.
Say it ain't so, Lon.
6-bet to $5,755,000. Back at you, Felix. And that will win the pot. That was all in or fold for Stevenson, and Politano takes it.
Bruno Politano takes the chip lead with that brazen 6-bet.
Wow, gutsy maneuvering from the Brazilian. And his rail goes nuts. Stevenson left with 50 big blinds, but that one hurt. So a surreal experience here in Vegas for Bruno Politano, especially given his full-time job back in Brazil.
I learned poker 11 years ago. It's not my profession because I have a store. I play poker when I'm not working. This is the Jorryt. In store we sell bags, purses, belts, shoes, everything women's like products we sell. It's Brazilian poker family. It's a big community. Michael, when one Brazilian is playing something, tennis, ping pong, doesn't matter. Everybody is screaming, everybody is supporting him. My Scooby-Doo's coming! It's a big community, poker in Brazil, big community. I'm feeling prepared. I win this bracelet for Brazil.
Politano trying to become the first Brazilian ever to make it to the main event final table.
When the World Series of Poker started in the early 1970s, the international players came from Texas. Now, as poker's expansion continues, they come from all over the world. This year is no exception, with 9 of the 16 remaining players from outside the U.S. This American game truly has no borders.
I marvel at the universality of this game, its growing multinational appeal. And from around the globe, each player brings something special to the table. Van Hoof's smile, Jacobson's focus, Politano's crowd, Larabi's innocence, Velador's experience, Stevenson's good nature. But frankly, all of that pales in comparison to Billy Pappas's foosball wizardry. Foosball, now there's an American sport.
No Brazilian foosball champs as far as I can tell, but I'm sure the passion would run deep and loud should they ever field a winner. Felix Stevenson on the button with ace-queen of spades.
By the way, I got a chance to go to the Norwegian Poker Championships this year and found out that in Norway, ace-queen is called the waffle hand because they say if you play it too hard, you'll be eating waffles.
22-year-old Andoni Larabi from Spain in the big blind calls with queen 5 off.
In Spain, I believe queen 5 is called the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hand because you will lose with it.
Right, heads up. The flop 5 ace 7. Bottom pair for Larabi, top pair for Stevenson. Larabi checks.
Larabi and Stevenson are so young. This is almost a Little League World Series.
Stevenson reaching for chips. Just a continuation bet, or does he have something? Well, same bet, 425, less than half the pot.
Stevenson tempted Larabi with that small pre-flop raise, and the temptation is hurting Larabi.
Yep, and with bottom pair, Larabi makes the call. Turn card now. The queen of clubs, 2 pair for each, but Stevenson with the ace queen, a third club as you see out there. Larabe checked. Stevenson with top 2. Again, less than half the pot, 850.
The ace-queen here usually would lose to a flush because the ace-queen always finds a way to lose. If Larabe comes along here, I assume he'll hit a 5 on the river.
He does come along with his queens and 5s. Stevenson still the hammerlock on this hand. No 5, tray of diamonds on the river. And a check once again from Larabe.
Stevenson very comfortable with top 2 here. See, this is easier than pot limit Omaha.
How much this time? Again, less than half the pot. $1,450,000.
Larabe bleeding chips here, 1 check call at a time.
Larabe with a quick call and sees that he is second best with his 2 pair. Stevenson goes to Spain to start rebuilding his stack and moves up to 5th place with some foreign aid.
Always nice when you get it back in the very next hand.
Oh, that's very close to even.
Felix Stevenson back on track after falling for Politano's impressive bluff.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high rollerball 7 champion.
Oh yeah!
Wheels are coming off.
That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that bite?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
There are 9 international competitors of the remaining 16. Dutchman Jorryt van Hoof opened for $450. Swede Martin Jacobson with ace-king off.
Jacobson went to culinary school, which somehow led him to poker. We need more chefs, not more sit-and-go savants.
Jacobson just calls with ace-king. Now Dan Sindelar with ace-queen.
By the way, I'm leading a movement in America to ban ace-queen as a starting hand. The way it would work, Lon, if you're dealt ace-queen, you simply turn it over, they give you 2 new cards.
I like that. A re-raise, though, with ace-queen for Sindelar to $1,575,000. Eddie Sabat folds. Billy Pappas, the foosball king, folds. Oscar Kemps follows suit. Christopher Graves folds his big blind, back now to Van Hoof. And he folds.
Jacobson looks like the kid I used to cheat off of in 11th grade biology.
Well, most people take biology in 9th grade now.
Good for you.
With the bigger ace, Jacobson makes the call.
Jacobson playing ace-king deceptively out of position against a good player in big stack.
4, Jack, deuce, ace-king still better than ace-queen.
Jacobson, one of the most accomplished players left in the field. He has 4 World Series final tables.
He checks it to Sindelar. Both miss the flop. Sindelar's going to bet it $1,250,000. Jacobson. 5 beige chips is a call.
Well, he's got the right idea, but if he can call there, you can raise there. See what Mr. Continuation Bet is made of.
Turn card 6 of spades. Ace-king still in the lead. Ace-king checks.
What is Mr. Continuation Bet made of?
Well, looking at his chips. Sindelar says $3,800,000.
Now it's getting hard to call with ace-king. Sindelar keeps firing.
Jacobson looks down at a board that he has no piece of. And he gives it up, and Sindelar will take the pot. And for your peace of mind, Norman, ace-queen didn't win that hand. Dan Sindelar did. Sindelar, the chip leader once again in the main event. He is not the most outspoken at the table, but he has a pretty well-defined plan for main event success.
I'm just taking it kind of one hand at a time. Just trying to keep the pot small. Just playing small ball poker. Not really trying to go for stacks right now. Just kind of weeding through. Keep going up the pay stages.
Small ball has produced a big stack. He began days 5 and 6 with more than twice the chip average, and now is the chip leader on day 7.
We'll keep it here. Action on Van Hoof in the cutoff seat. Ace-8 of hearts.
Another Magic the Gathering product. See, that makes sense. Magic to poker. Culinary school to poker? No.
Good point. Van Hoof raised to 525 in the big blind. Eddie Sabat, the LA poker pro, with Jack 10 of hearts.
He used to keep quarters in a can as a teen. His brother won $30 in quarters from him while teaching Eddie how to play poker. But Eddie got better, started beating his brother, and eventually his brother stopped playing him and became a surgeon.
Defending his big blind, Sabat makes the call for 285 more. We'll go heads up with one of the bigger stacks in the room. The flop, 9-Jack-5 Sabat with top pair. A check.
Von Hoof likes to eat his shirt when he's in a pot. If a hand takes a long time, he changes afterward.
Turn card, 7 of hearts, Sabat with a straight flush draw, though we know he can't make it. A two-way straight draw and an ace-high flush draw for Von Hoof.
Yeah, big card for Eddie there. Whatever quarters he's got in the can, he wants to start putting into the pot.
600,000 is the bet from Sabat.
And as you mentioned, that was a big card for Von Hoof as well.
Tense times for friends and family on the rail. Melissa Costello is Eddie's girlfriend, watching closely. Von Hoof with the call. River card is the 4 of hearts. Eddie Sabat comes up with a jack-high flush, but an ace-high flush for Von Hoof.
That is one unfriendly card for Eddie Sabat, disguised as a friend.
And Sabat, of course, needs chips, so he puts them in the pot, hoping they're going to come back. But I'm sorry, Eddie, $1,150,000.
Von Hoof has the nuts, but he can't let go of his hoodie with his left hand. Oh, there he goes. How much will he raise, Lon?
Well, he looked back at his cards. That's a big hand. Maybe everything Eddie has.
All in.
There it is.
Wow, almost.
Well, Sabat began this hand with just under 30 big blinds. If he calls here, I can't believe he won't. They'll all be gone.
Everyone watching this hand on pins and needles.
Ace-6 of hearts or something?
Pretty spot-on read. Will Eddie trust that read and lay down a huge hand? His main event rests on it.
We've seen him call out an opponent's hand and make the losing call anyhow.
I call.
There it is.
Oh, no. Oh, he's got the nuts. I almost folded.
And that ends Sabat's main event.
I'm out. I almost folded. So close.
Eddie was ahead on the flop, ahead on the turn, makes his hand, and is busted.
16th place, earning almost $348,000 for the likable LA Pro. What a boon to Von Hoof's chip stack. He is now top dog in the kennel with nearly $27 million. 1 minute you think you've made your hand, and next you're walking around in circles wondering what on earth just happened.
Ace-6 of hearts or something? I call.
Oh, no. Oh, he's got the nuts. I almost folded.
Kara Scott is with this year's 16th place finisher.
Eddie, it's every poker player's dream to run deep here in this main event. So can you give us your impressions on coming into day 7 and playing through this?
I had a blast every day, and I really appreciate getting this far, and I learned a lot. I'm definitely a better player coming out of this, and next time that happens, I would have folded. That was my gut to fold the last hand.
Big picture, what is this kind of deep run here and the being on the feature table, what does that do for your career?
It's awesome. I enjoyed the experience, and it's just another place, another finish, and if Mark can do it again, maybe I can do it again.
Mark is Mark Newhouse at the featured table, under the gun, open for $500,000 with pocket deuces. Bruno Politano taking his turn with ace-queen.
I am leading a Just Say No to Ace-Queen symposium in Brazil in December. Sadly, that's too late for Bruno.
Here is the flop. Queen deuce, Jack Newhouse hits pay dirt in his set mining operations. Top pair, top kicker for Politano.
Again, I don't want to take anything away from how well Mark Newhouse is playing, Lon, but this is his main event in a nutshell. Bang! He'll outflop you or he'll bink you on the turn of the river.
$600,000 from Newhouse, and now the top pair, top kicker is just a 7% hand for Bruno.
Yeah, and to Newhouse's credit, you never know when he has it.
There's a call from Bruno. Turn card, 9 of spades. Politano now drawing dead. Newhouse. Wondering how much can I get out of this Brazilian amateur. Making it cheap, $1,000,001.
Well, first of all here, Bruno has a good hand. Secondly, in this spot, Bruno might be quite suspicious of Mark's show of strength because Mark will posture a lot.
Politano not going anywhere, makes the call. River card. 4 of clubs, and really from Politano's perspective, not much to worry about out there.
Well, this is where that balancing your range business comes into play. Mark will bet with nothing. This time he's betting with something. By balancing his range, he always has you guessing.
Newhouse now. Lots of purples, a little more than half the pot, $2,750,000. Bruno calls with the queens. Very good news for Newhouse, who really needed a healthy pot about now.
It's hard to know when he has it.
Newhouse's brother, Daniel, hoping to witness some history tonight. Mark Newhouse with about $15.5 million into fourth place.
$2,750,000.
Politano takes the hit, drops a couple notches on the leaderboard. What could he do? Before that last hand, Newhouse was not in great position to make the November 9. Now he's back in contention for that $10 million first place prize.
By the way, one of those 9 international players left is an American, Luis Velador, who was born in Mexico.
It's like a clam bake on the Newhouse rail tonight.
Go, Mark! Go, Mark!
Carlos Santana in the house for Mark Newhouse.
Oh, this is first, Mark. I don't even know these guys. Where'd you meet him, buddy? Huh? You brought him from LA? Say what? Oh, yeah.
Action on Politano under the gun, ace-10.
Let's talk about playing in Brazil for a second. Beautiful beaches, nice-looking population, amazing food. So I'll choose a pursuit that keeps me indoors and takes me out of the country for big events.
$510,000.
Politano still appears to be stinging from that last pot of raise to $510,000. Bruno has given way to Newhouse as the table chip leader after that last hand we saw. Folded around to Craig McCorkle. British pro on the button, folds to Newhouse in the small blind. King 5 into the muck. Tom Serra Jr. in the big with 7 deuce of diamonds. Obviously, he didn't hear me.
And you have such a booming voice. Tom says he's selectively aggressive. Can't believe he's going to select this moment to be aggressive. Is there a 7 deuce bonus here like they used to have on high stakes poker?
Right? That's about 15% of his hard-earned stack with that raise to $1,840,000 from Serra.
Well, remember we told you earlier, Bruno likes to open pots, but usually doesn't like it when they push back at him.
Serra, the Ohio first-timer, grandma caretaker, former dealer, gets the pot as Politano folds.
Wow. I think everyone at the table owes Tom Serra Jr. $500.
No doubt he's thinking, I hope this gets on TV for the home game buddies. How about that?
Bad start.
For that play with 7 deuce, Tom Serra Jr. earns tonight's right move. Brought to you by Gentleman Jack. Bruno Politano opened the pot, and in the big blind with just 7 deuce suited, Tom Serra Jr. re-raised and took it down. Hope he had a side bet somewhere. Time now for the conclusion of the prestigious Side Action Championship.
And it all comes down to this. 3 of our players playing for the biggest prize in Side Action Championship history, and Jean-Robert Ballon playing for whatever pride remains in his disappointing adult life. The dealer will spread a suit of cards face down and hide one card. Players will then try to guess which card is missing. Here we go.
King of Hearts, King of Hearts, King of Hearts, King of Hearts, King of Hearts.
I think I said it first.
Very, very close.
I said King.
You said I heard King of Hearts here.
I said King.
Split second before. We will go to replay on that.
So close.
Instant replay? First baseball, now this?
Upon further review, Phil Locke said it first.
That would have locked up first place for me. Oh my God.
And now, the all-important 26-card spread.
Eight of spades.
Wrong.
5 of hearts.
Yes!
Yes!
Mike Manasso!
I'm alive! I'm alive!
Mike the Mouth and Cherry Bomber for everything. Remember, you get one guess and that's it.
7 of hearts.
Wrong.
Oh, he's wrong. There's a 7 of hearts. Oh my God, he's on a fair.
I think I found it.
8 of hearts.
8 of hearts is finally correct. Phil Lock, first side action champion.
I'm here, and it's bright, it's splashy, it's tall, it's got a straight foot. This is powerful. I'm very happy. This is worth a lot to me.
Congratulations, 2014 side action champion. And now for the loser's reward. One time around the room in a pajama onesie. What's that going to feel like?
Wow. That's going to, we're going to get that over with real quickly. I'm about to get naked. I'll be out there. I'm going to put it on. How you guys doing? Good luck. Used to be me. I'm out.
I am so excited for Side Action Championship Toulon, I'm not even returning the tuxedo that I rented.
Back to the World Championship, secondary table, early position. Oscar Kemps, a Dutch amateur who loves to play in the main event, looks down at 10-9 of diamonds.
He runs an online lifestyle and fashion website.
This is his 5th main event, and he is shoving for just under 3.8 million.
15 big blinds.
William Tonking folds 7 tray. Von Hoof gets rid of it now. Jacobson says no thanks. Dan Sindelar with ace-king, and he will make the call. Kemps all in and behind.
Almost got through, but the big stack and the big blind had a big hand.
Hold on, let me put my lucky bracelets. I'll put my lucky bracelets. Don't do it.
I got nothing to counter that.
Well, you big ace of diamonds to counter that.
Lucky bracelet, 2 live cards.
Lucky bracelet, 2 live cards. Sounds like a plan.
Not going to stand, not going to sit, but he's all in. Here's the flop. 10 Jack 9. Kemps flops bottom 2 pair.
Take a jack.
Sindelar with a Broadway draw. Turn card, another 10. Kemps will double up with the full house. And the river card of Queens, Sindelar River Broadway. Lucky for Kemps, he turned the boat.
Kemps likes to splash around a lot. Now he can splash around a little with that double up.
Knocking on the door of 8 million, still short, but it's a nice step forward. Dan Sindelar takes the glancing blow. He remains in 2nd place overall. So the Dutchman, Oscar Kemps, can breathe a short sigh of relief now, doubling through Sindelar. Kemps doesn't play a lot of poker, but he makes the trip every year to the World Series.
He started playing poker after seeing Greg Raymer win it all in 2004, and 2012 was a good year for Kemps at the main event. He cashed, and he met the woman he fell in love with.
He's got a fashion store in Belgium and admits that's not his expertise.
I'll give you a little funny story. I don't know anything about fashion. I like it, but I don't. They say I have no style. So they dress me and they go, it's good that you're here. Please don't make any decisions about the colors or the prints. That's not you. We'll do that part. I mean, I like fashion, but I can't choose what to wear. I let my girlfriend pick it out for me, or they do it for me. Like, they're like, oh, roll up the sleeves because otherwise you'll look stupid or something. Like, okay, thanks. I don't know that stuff.
I don't know anything about fashion either, but if these 3 guys were dressed like this as mannequins at Macy's, they'd go out of business within a month.
On the button, Kemps, king 5 of clubs. No action in front of him, so he's got to raise it up on the button. 525. Chris Graves folds his small blind. William Tonking in the big blind wakes up with queens, as we say in the booth.
Every day has been the same for Tonking at the main event. Get a bit short early on, then find a favorable spot or 2 to chip up and survive.
And he's got some beige chips in hand. He's going to re-raise it to $1,275,000.
With king 5, I would fold here and make an appointment with Louis Vuitton. Kemps does like to play fast and loose, though.
Boy, we saw this type of raising war at the featured table. And there it is, a 4-bet to $2,100,000 from Kemps.
And this is one of those favorable spots Tonking keeps waiting on patiently.
All in.
And he re-raises. Kemps all in. And Kemp stood his ground as long as he could, but Tonking with the bigger stack and bigger hand will take it. That's a nice color on Oscar's girlfriend. You know, he didn't pick that one out. William Tonking quietly making it work, as Tim Gunn says on Project Runway. Yeah, I watch. The button raise has always been fashionable, but it doesn't work out for Kemps this time. Back to the drawing board. Welcome back to the World Series of Poker Main Event telecast presented by Gentleman Jack. Featured table, Mark Newhouse, under the gun, rags, raises, why not?
His hand range is almost as wide as the Grand Canyon.
Stevenson with queens.
He doesn't play a lot of live tournaments, so he says it always takes him a while to get in the zone. He's in the zone.
Just calls, says let's take it post-flop Newhouse, but Velador may have something to say about that with ace-king off.
He went to the gym this morning, then came back to his hotel room and fell asleep again. His son Luis Jr. came in and said, "You're playing on day 7 in 25 minutes. Wake up, old man."
What is it?
Velador does want to play higher. He's going to make it. $1,400,000. Larabe folds his small blind in the big Craig McCorkle. Queen 10 of diamonds.
28-year-old British pro. Finished 172nd at the 2012 main event. He has 11 World Series cashes. And this would be a bad time for McCorkle to be thinking about making a move.
He told us he's sleeping in this main event better than his friends are. They're all amped up and he's calm in the zone. And he does get rid of the suited queen. Newhouse, the original raiser, folds. Now Stevenson with the queens.
As I was saying to Daniel Negreanu before knocking him out of the World Series 10K Stud 8 Championship this summer en route to my 10th place finish, when you've got pocket queens, play them fast and furious.
Velador with ace-king. That can be played fast and furiously.
I'm all in.
Stevenson re-raises Luis all in.
Well, as I was saying to Mike Matiso before knocking him out of the World Series of Poker 10K Stud 8 Championship this summer en route to my 10th place finish, ace-king's just a drawing hand. Think twice about it.
Very even stacks. Felix Stevenson has Luis barely covered.
Velador knows it's probably a race. Does he want a race for his main event life just short of the final table? I might fold here and wait for a better spot with my 40 big blinds.
And Velador does give up. The ace-king says, not this time. So Stevenson's call, shove, works. Surprised we didn't see a flop there. Here are Phil Locke and Antonio Esfandiari with their take.
Wow, World Series of Poker, day 7. A lot on the line. You get the ace-king, but what's this? I've raised and now I'm getting repop for huge. I think this is a time to say, okay, we're flipping huge.
And I agree. I think the only time that I'm ever going to fold ace-king pre-flop in a tournament is when I think that I'm up against aces or kings. And I think that in this particular situation, given the way the hand played and Felix's huge over-raise, it's nearly impossible for him to have aces or kings. So even though I know I'm flipping, I got to take it because I have so much money out there and I want to put myself in a position to win the tournament.
To
Luis, on the other hand...
To his credit, he knows he's a good enough player that he can get those chips without even having hands here and there, so he doesn't feel like he wants to go into flip territory.
Right, Luis doesn't want to flip, and I do want to flip. And you're the world's greatest flipper.
I'm not results-wise, just passion-wise. I love doing it. I'm only batting 54%.
Sometimes you got to flip.
Yeah, you got to flip sometimes.
I stand corrected.
Folded to Velador, king 7 of hearts. And these cash game specialists love the suited cards, don't they? A raise to $500,000.
Everyone wants to flip all day, Lon. If there were a flipping drive-through, the line would be around the block.
No kidding. Tom Serra Jr. in the big blind with 2 9s.
This guy doesn't want to flip. This guy wants to play poker.
Sits with $13.6 million to start the hand. And he will make the call. And go heads up with Luis Velador. All right, here's the flop. Ace 4 5 all hearts. Velador scores the nut flush. Serra checks his 9s.
What I love about Luis, he plays all the games. He likes to say about hold'em, 2 cards, too boring.
Velador calmly looks down, bets $400,000 to Serra, who has a useless flush draw. And he'll come along.
Well, Tom might think his pair is good, plus he might think the flush draw is good.
7 of diamonds. Serra does not improve. He's drawing dead. He checks again.
Velador could slow down here if he thinks Sarah might fire out on the river.
Chips in hand. 750,000 this time, and Tom is right there. He's persistent.
We've seen Sarah make some quick calls drawing dead.
Luis knows he's got a good one on the hook here. River card, another small card. A check again from Sarah.
By the way, Velador doesn't have the stone cold nuts here, since Sarah could have a deuce tray of hearts for a straight flush, but I think he'll take his chances.
I think you're right. Now Velador with his last chance. A lot of purples.
Call.
And a snap call for over 2.6 million. Sarah thinks his nines might be good, but then again, maybe not. A third of Sarah's stack goes across the table to seat 8 and Velador.
How much? Nice hand.
When someone in a rolled up plaid shirt bets the flop turn and river with 3 hearts on board, he always has it. Always.
Velador didn't want to flip before, and now he's whole again, plus some. A lot to cheer about at this stage of the main event, especially if you're Luis Velador. Welcome back. Before the break, a big misstep for the first-timer Tom Serra Jr. He called down Luis Velador's flopped flush and lost a third of his stack. A look at the payouts. The current payout, nearly 442 grand. A spot at the final table is guaranteed over $730,000. We've got 2 first-timers gunning for that final table. Serra Jr. on the left and foosball champ Billy Pappas on the right.
Today I haven't actually played that good. Yesterday I played really good. That was my best day, but just cards. That's what I attribute it to. In foosball, people say that I don't think I've ever seen you like not smiling. So I'm a pretty happy person. So hopefully that positive energy goes to the poker table. I was hoping to cash and then go to the next level, but we're playing for 10 million.
I finally made it out here for the main, it's really exciting. I do have designs on surviving one hand, one level, one day at a time. My goal for the tournament is to continue on to day 5, and then on to day 6, and then we'll wrap play on day 7, and I plan on a nice relaxing break between day 7 and November. No, I feel good. I'm dug in, and I've had some big hands, and I think that I've played some of those big hands pretty well. And here we are. It continues. Today is one day of play. I'm in control of the tick being that I am right now. I'm dug in,
All right, attention main event players, please go back to your prior seat locations.
It's hard to put it into words right now. One day of play, equates to, being a November Niner. Pretty intense.
Pappas and Sarah, both longtime poker dealers, turning the tables on the other side of the felt.
Luis Velador raised with king, queen of spades. Action on Tom with queen 9 in the small blind. He's going to get back on the horse again and take on Velador. He calls. Politano folds his big blind.
Sarah's itching to play pots. That's not a great itch to scratch.
All right, heads up. Here is the flop. Deuce 10-7, both miss. King high best for Luis. Sarah checks. Velador, 4 purples is 400,000. 4 purples is
400,000.
Yep.
He likes checking in the dark.
Jack of spades, both are open-ended now. Luis with the higher end of the draws. Sarah checked.
Checking in the dark is like agreeing to a blind date. Too much downside.
River card, 4 of diamonds, busted draws abound. King high is best. Sarah checks.
Check.
And a check back. Showdown. There it is.
Nice hand.
Velador winning that pot is like finding $20 in your pocket after you get your clothes out of the wash.
Velador into 6th place. His biggest World Series cash came with his bracelet win back in 2008. Luis is the oldest player remaining in this field at 51 years of age. He's been playing poker a long time and looking for his 3rd World Series of Poker final table.
Luis plays a lot at the Commerce, and apparently his skills have rubbed off on one of his 5 kids. If Luis and Luis Jr. play at a final table together, they will officially become the Ken Griffeys of the poker world.
Luis Velador Looks out at Jack 4 and folds under the gun. Fold it to Craig McCorkle. Jack 10, he wants to get involved. A raise to 500,000. Mark Newhouse, 2 red 6s.
What are you playing, roughly?
About 7.
About 7?
Newhouse 0 for 17 at this World Series. No cashes all summer. Then rolls out of bed for the main event, and he's zeroing in on back-to-back November 9s.
It is the story of this main event, and he just calls Sarah Jr. now. Jack Trey.
Rags. But that's not the pose of a man who's going to fold.
You're right.
Selectively aggressive. Here comes Tom Sarah Jr. again.
Wow, he's not selectively aggressive. He's playing every hand. Base chips in hand. A re-raise to $2,750,000, Norman.
Well, as I was saying to Jeff Lissandro, after re-raising him at the World Series 10K Stud 8 Championship this summer en route to my 10th place finish, I didn't come to stay, punk. I came to play.
Felix Stevenson gives up a suited ace. McCorkle folds. Newhouse folds a pocket pair, and Tom's looking like anything but a first-timer.
They don't have the stomach for Tom Sarah Jr.
Tom Sarah Jr. said he's dug in, and if dug in means re-raising with Jack Trey, yeah, we consider him dug in.
The best poker content on the internet.
Your super high rollerball 7 champion.
Oh yeah!
Wheels are coming off. That's the craziest hand I've ever seen. What was that bite?
Go to get.pokergo.com/YT24 for $20 off a new annual subscription.
Back on day 4, the Amazon room was full. Now just 2 tables are left. 15 players remain. The last stages of this battle for a seat at the final table.
And Mark Newhouse is still here. How deep is the LA River this time of year?
Not much there. Newhouse with Jack 10, early position, a raise to $500,000. Sarah with King Queen off comes along. Brazilian Bruno Politano with pocket 5s.
He's been getting some words of wisdom from his friend, fellow Brazilian Ariel Celestino, who cashed 6 times at this World Series, including 255th at this main event.
Bruno would be a good side action competitor with that chip riffle. And he's just going to call for 500 with a pocket pair. Max Senft now on the button. Queen of clubs, Jack of diamonds.
He has a bachelor's degree in economics. He's getting a second bachelor's in TV and film producing. And if they had a bachelor's program for folding your way to the final table, he'd have a third one.
In the small blind, Stevenson ace, king of spades.
By the way, the Stud 8 10K championship I've been mentioning was won by the fabulous George Danzer, who's in the running for World Series Player of the Year.
Where'd you finish in that?
10th!
Yeah, I thought so.
Thank you.
All right, Stevenson taking his time here with ace, king of spades. There is a re-raise to $2.25 million. Velador gives up his big blind.
See you, Mark.
Newhouse as well. You're right. Sarah now with king, queen.
See you, Tom. Actually, this does not look like the pose of someone who's folding.
I told you he can't hear us.
Well, this is not a good spot for Tom Sarah Jr. to get out of line.
Tom Sarah Jr. is looking like he wants to get out of line. Wow, a re-raise to $6.7 million, and that sheds Politano.
I don't think Tom has selected the best time to be aggressive.
Stevenson now has Sarah Jr. dominated.
How much you got behind?
6.7.
Is that like two?
Dominated and covered.
There's one over here in green. Back over to Felix. 1.5, a little over 4.
A look back.
I'm all in.
He puts Sarah all in.
Now Sarah caught between a rock and a hard hand of love.
Call.
He calls with king, queen, and will be dominated by Stevenson.
Monster misstep.
Nice hand.
The incredulous looks on the other players' faces tells a story.
Yeah, I know. It's a spew. Spew. We'll see.
Stevenson in great shape to pick up this $25 million chip pot.
We've seen Tom's gutsy plays. This is an unfortunate read.
What are you gonna do, man? I'm just a rookie.
Sarah began this hand with almost 50 big blinds, all his chips in the middle with king, queen off.
Terrible.
Sarah at risk. Here is the flop. An ace for Stevenson, and his flush draw steals outs from Tom.
It's all but over for Tom Serra Jr. He'd need 2 perfect running cards to stay alive.
Is he dead? No, it's not. Still out. No.
Tom, a good sportsman, no matter the situation. The turn card, the 7 of hearts, that will end Tom Serra Jr.'s very impressive main event journey.
Good playing, good playing.
Going out with a smile on his face, done in by Felix Stevenson.
Good game, good game. Use them chips wisely.
Good, man.
Good playing, man.
Almost 442 grand coming home to Girard, Ohio.
The fabulous run for the first timer ends in the blink of an eye.
Almost a double up for Stevenson, who is now a huge force to deal with in this main event.
We're happy with the flop.
Time now for the DraftKings.com King of the Night. It goes to Poker's King Felix. Felix Stevenson, he recovered very nicely from a great Bruno Politano bluff, currently in second place.
This man's a pot limit Omaha cash game online specialist. How'd he get so good at Hold'em?
Jorryt von Hoof is the chip leader with Stevenson right behind him in second place. Mark Newhouse has gained ground, now up to 6th.
Newhouse edging closer to history. Yes, I am a believer, Lon.
The pressure at the main event is at its peak level.
I'm all in.
Call. What are you gonna do, man? I'm just a rookie.
Mark Newhouse has been here before.
All in.
He knows the pressure's on everyone else.
Last year was very exciting. First time I've been that deep. I feel like I played pretty well leading up to the final table.
14 players remain for a final table with 9 reserved spots. The question everyone is asking, can Mark Newhouse really make back-to-back main event final tables?
It's no secret, guys. I'm raising every hand. Not gonna try to hide it. Feeling great. Can't let the pressure get to me.
$10 million to the winner of the main event, but there's business at hand first. At an outer table action on Oscar Kemp's, the short stack in the room.
14 big blinds left.
King Jack. And the Dutchman living in Belgium raises all in for almost $3.5 million.
Who would want to knock out Oscar Kemp's?
Does William Tonking with ace-5 suited? No. How about fellow Dutchman Jorryt von Hoof? Yeah, I think so, with pocket aces.
He could have thought about it a little longer.
Ouch indeed. Kemp's at risk, getting ready for his exit.
If I have to lose to anybody, I'd rather it be you, but I still want to win. So,
Likewise.
hold on. This is a tougher one, though. I might need a couple extra braces for it. This is not a 10-9 ace-king scenario. Still going to do this, though. Work last night.
As you mentioned, Kemps was born in the Netherlands but moved to Belgium. Von Hoof, a Dutch native, has never forgiven him for that.
Here is the flop. Queen 7, queen not good for Kemp's. Things just went from bad to worse.
Yeah, the amateur now is going to need runner to stick around.
The turn card is the 4 of clubs. Kemp's comes up empty, drawing dead, done with the main event.
Oscar Kemp's finishes 14th, but in my book, he's the winner of the guy I'd most like to have a beer with, if he pays.
His second main event cash worth almost 10 times his first from 2012. Van Hoof accelerates a little further from the field, working with over 33 million now. We're down to 13. At the feature table, Newhouse is the feature story.
This guy's still around? I would have figured he'd bluff off all his chips on day one. Huh, who knew?
His cash game buddy, Luis Velador, sitting comfortably in third.
The Southern California pro is the oldest player left in the field at 51. I'm surprised they didn't card him and just throw him out.
Bruno Politano has most of Brazil seemingly here in the Amazon room.
Most of Brazil cannot be here, Lon. There's not enough parking.
Von Hoof and Felix Stevenson with huge stacks right now. Newhouse in 7th. First-timer Billy Pappas in 9th.
Nobody guaranteed a November 9 spot yet, but Von Hoof and Stevenson already have ordered seat cushions for that final table.
McCorkle and Max Simpf need double-ups.
Both hanging around 20 big blinds. Not a good place to be hanging around right about now.
We are constantly reminded that sports is all about the stories. Now, with just 13 players remaining, we are on the cusp of one of the best stories in a long time. Mark Newhouse in prime position to outlast the starting field of 6,683 players to make his second straight main event final table.
Action Dan Harrington, impressively, was the last to go back-to-back at main event final tables in 2003 and 2004. But what were massive fields at that time are minuscule compared to today. Mark Newhouse is 4 knockouts away from main event immortality. If he becomes a back-to-back November 9er, it puts him on a very short list of greatest main event achievements. Seeing is believing. He just might make us all believers.
4 eliminations from the November 9, and Mark Newhouse has about twice as many chips now as he did when he made last year's final table. Yeah, he's feeling the pressure, Norman.
Well, that didn't sound like a top 40 hit, but you never know.
He's in the blinds at 120,000, 240, a 40K addy. Luis Velador, the oldest in the field at 51. He folds to the youngest, 22-year-old, Andoni Larabe from Spain. He raises to $500,000 with ace-10. Around to Mark Newhouse now on the button, jack-10 of hearts.
Yeah, like 9, 8, something like that. I call.
And you heard the call, small blind. Bruno Politano, 7 deuce of spades.
Politano lives in Fortaleza, 5th largest city in Brazil, one of the host cities of the 2014 World Cup, and apparently also the home of a lot of 7 deuce savants.
What is to noodle here for the Brazilian? A raise and a call in front of him. Oh, I see. A re-raise to $1.58 million.
Politano looks like a tight player from what we've seen, and then he does this.
Accent folds.
Politano senses weakness around the table.
Larabe, the original raiser. Larabe folds his ace-10. Newhouse with jack-10 now.
Politano senses weakness. Newhouse senses opportunity. Tight players look for reasons to fold. Mark Newhouse is not a tight player.
And Mark Newhouse is going to come along for a little over $1 million more.
Well, maybe this is an Ivy poker training video. How to play 7 deuce out of position when Phil Ivey is no longer in the field.
Heads up, Politano with 7 deuce. He should hide under that hoodie. Here is the flop and middle pair for Politano to take the lead. Newhouse flops a gut shot.
Yeah, it is fun making a move pre-flop with 7 deuce, but now you've got to play it out of position. It's like getting into a plane to skydive. Sounds great. Then you have to jump.
With middle pair, he is going to bet $1,350,000.
Since Politano 3-bet pre-flop, Newhouse can't figure he connected with that flop. Newhouse here, though, just has jack high and the gut shot.
But Newhouse can connect with a lot of flops, and everyone here knows that.
I
call. Newhouse makes the call.
Well, if Mark's calling there, he just might pounce on the turn if Politano checks it.
Turn card. 4 of hearts misses both.
Another small card shouldn't scare Politano.
He does check it to Newhouse.
Is Newhouse going to pounce?
No. Free look at the river card. Another tray. Politano's hand turns out to be the best. Politano checks again, and now Newhouse with a busted straight draw.
This looks like a tough river card to bluff. Clubs didn't get there, no big cards on the board. But Newhouse knows jack high can't win at showdown.
Mark Newhouse, if nothing else, loves to put pressure on his opponent, and the pressure is worth $2.25 million here.
Much?
He started with 7 deuce, flopped to 7.
Newhouse makes it look like a value bet. And Politano will ask himself, as Antonio Esfandiari has taught us, does Newhouse's story make sense here? Of course, he's asking himself in Portuguese.
It's bluff?
Yes, it is a bluff disguised as a value bet, but I cannot tell you that, Bruno.
And now, Bruno going through his calculations.
Actually, now it looks like he's trying to remember the recipe for coq au vin.
The Brazilians waiting to explode on the rail.
A call here would be for about 20% of his remaining stack.
And what a call it would be. There it is.
Call. You got it.
You got it, Bruno. What a hand by the Brazilian. And a huge hit at the worst time for Mark Newhouse. Bruno says, no, not in my house. He's got a fourth place stack. Newhouse handed away over a third of his. A big call by Politano cues the Brazilian celebration. Imagine if he makes the final table. So many come to Las Vegas with a dream, and as day 7 reaches its conclusion, 13 poker players on the cusp of realizing their dream. Among them, first-timer Billy Pappas, one of the best foosball players in the world, with a real shot at being a world champ in a second sport.
I started playing foosball when I was 7 years old. When I grew up playing, my mom's boyfriend, we used to play all day, and we used to go to tournaments in New York. We drove to Cleveland, Atlanta, all over the U.S. And so I developed playing, and I just never stopped. I've won a lot of world championships, national. He taught me well. Once you get to the next level, it's actually a bit like poker, is you have to know your opponents. And that got me to being one of the best. My skills were kind of natural, but the next level is still knowing your opponent in practice. This is my first ever World Series of Poker event in general. Up until 6 months ago, I was a dealer, and I've been playing a little bit, and I decided to come to the World Series and hopefully do what I'm doing. Being a dealer, coming to play and do this has been my dream since 2005, and at some point I was like, okay, it's never gonna happen, but I'm fortunate enough to be here right now.
Pappas had planned to go to Austria for a foosball tournament, but a buddy offered to back him in the main event. Billy's foosball partner told him to go for it because she said it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Billy fortunate to have kings against the nines of Swede Martin Jacobson, who opened the pot. And now Pappas re-raises to $1,350,000. Christopher Graves with ace-queen.
Pappas was a foosball wizard. Graves was a world-class bridge player as a kid.
The amateur from Indiana, Graves, shoves for almost $8.5 million.
Who would want to knock out Billy Pappas or Chris Graves?
Jacobson folds. Pappas with a shorter stack calls all in.
Yeah, they have almost identical stacks. Graves with 150,000 more chips than Pappas.
Nice.
Come on, baby. King's got him covered.
First time in the whole tournament.
One time.
On this hand, one amateur's dream will continue, and one amateur's dream will be shattered.
All right, here's our flop. Graves trying to knock out Pappas, but he needs help. 10-7 deuce. Pappas still good with his kings.
Graves looks like he's trying to will an ace onto that board.
Turn card is a queen. That pairs Graves, gives him a couple more outs.
Better than a jack.
More outs.
No, it's not.
They await their fate. Graves needs an ace or a queen.
The river card is a jack. And Pappas will double up to almost $18 million. Graves shaking hands, but he's got a few chips left.
Fan interaction after big hands is nice. Wouldn't it be cool to see Richard Sherman do this between plays?
Graves is left with half of a big blind.
Well, he's got a chip and a chair, so he ought to sit down.
And how about this main event rookie on the virtual final table in 6th place at the moment, Billy Pappas. To the Newhouse saga once again, under 10 million now, with ace-9 facing an all-in of over 4 million from Craig McCorkle with king-5 of clubs.
McCorkle pushed with 13 big blinds left. A call would be for more than 40% of Newhouse's stack. If he calls and loses his hand, he'd be under 20 big blinds.
Mark Newhouse definitively makes the call to the big blind. Bruno Politano.
Well, he can be a little aggravating. Just look at your cards, buddy.
Give me aces, he says. 7. Ooh, pocket 7s.
Oh, I fold.
He folds. So McCorkle, the British bracelet-winning pro, on the hook.
Yeah, McCorkle gets a small break there. He's a 3-2 underdog to Newhouse. If Newhouse folded and Politano called, he'd be a 2-1 dog to Bruno.
So McCorkle looking to double through. He's got 2 live cards against Mark Newhouse's ace-9.
Don't strike up the band yet.
Every hand is huge. Here's the flop. There's a 7. All diamonds. Politano would have hit a set, but Newhouse has a flush draw.
McCorkle will be buried now against Politano. He still has life against Newhouse.
Turn card, another 10. Does not help McCorkle. Mark still ahead. Bruno would have hit a full house.
McCorkle needs a non-diamond king or 5 to survive.
The river's another 4. Mark's ace kicker will play, and that means the end has come for Craig McCorkle out in 13th. Yeah, big sigh of relief from Mark.
Well, McCorkle, his 11th World Series cash, his second main event cash in 3 years.
And the band plays on as Newhouse goes into 7th place. Newhouse inching closer to hallowed ground here in Vegas. That was 9th place finish from last year. Still stings. He's kept a clear head throughout this year's main event.
As improbable as back-to-back November 9s seem, this is the 4th time in 6 years someone's made a big run at it. Dennis Phillips was 3rd in 2008, then 45th in 2009. Joseph Chung was 3rd in 2010, 114th in 2011. And Steve G was 9th in 2012, 24th in 2013.
Newhouse raises with deuces. Politano with king-jack offsuit makes the call.
Of course, Dan Harrington, the last to make back-to-back main event final tables in 03 and 04. Greg Raymer won it all in 04, then was 25th in 05. Joseph Hashem won in 05, then was 238th in 06.
Velador folds his big blind, so heads up Newhouse with the deuces. Politano with king-jack offsuit. And here is the flop, and there's a deuce, of course.
Lon, I have no idea why Mark Newhouse is playing poker. He should become a professional scratch-off lottery player.
Right? Mark acts normally and makes the continuation bet as expected, $750.
I would say Bruno missed that flop, but I don't have the best angle from where we're sitting.
3 beige chips, and Politano makes the call with 2 overcards to the board.
Yeah, I don't know about that call.
Jack of diamonds, Politano drawing dead even though he caught top pair.
You know, sometimes you trust your read too much. Bruno was buoyed by his 7-deuce call. I trust my stepson to pack his backpack, but that doesn't mean I trust him to walk to school by himself. All reads are different.
Newhouse bets $1 3/4 million. And by the way, isn't your stepson in college?
Yeah, but you know, I'm a very overprotective step-parent.
Politano now.
Well, if Bruno didn't believe Mark before, that jack does give him added incentive to stick around.
And he does stick around.
Politano drawing dead like me at the Playboy Mansion.
Ace of hearts, and that might kill some of Mark's action.
Newhouse can make this river bet with nearly 100% certainty. He's got the best of it. Spades didn't get there. 6-7 didn't get there.
The history between these two, perhaps a factor in this hand. How much does Mark think he can get? A big bet worthy of a big hand, $4 million.
Okay, no got lucky.
You're always guessing with Newhouse. Bruno knows he guessed right last time when Mark fired on the river with Squadouche. But when your opponent bets 3 times and you just have second pair, you better be darn sure he's bluffing before you call that last bet.
Oh, can he bluff me again? Can you try to bluff me again?
Bruno's already got $3 million in the pot. If he calls here, that's $7 million total he'll have in. He started the hand with $18 million.
Okay, Mark.
Okay, Mark. What?
No action yet. Mark has him befuddled. Politano looked ready to call, but he's having second thoughts. Back with his decision right after this. Back inside the Amazon room where Bruno Politano is still deciding whether or not to call Mark Newhouse's river bet. Mark with a set of deuces, Politano with just second pair.
Politano looks like he's running all types of numbers in his head. And I've always found doing math in Portuguese more difficult than doing math in English.
Mega confiante, tá ligado? Assim.
I think he just said something about Newhouse's family.
I call.
He makes the call, and he'll have to pay him off. What a pot for Mark Newhouse. The LA Pro has rebounded very strongly.
Yeah, that pot just might carry Mark Newhouse to another November 9.
Sad Scooby-Doo. Uh-oh. And just like that, Mark Newhouse's wild ride continues. He's parked in 5th place. Politano down to 8th. He shouldn't feel bad. Many a poker player have failed to solve the Mark Newhouse puzzle. All right, let's go to the other table. From the plentiful of Newhouse to the paltriness of Chris Graves. You see he has 3% to survive his all-in against Martin Jacobson.
This doesn't seem like a fair fight.
Jacobson flopped top pair. Graves wondering about his payout. Cash, check, or chips? 10 of diamonds on the turn. No miracle for Chris. He is out of the main event in 12th.
Rule number 1 of the main event, software developers from the Indianapolis area never make the final table. Given that, very nice finish.
His 3rd main event results in a monster payday. What a run for Graves.
What to do, what to do, what to do. There's got to be a bar near here somewhere.
Word has spread to the feature table. We're down to 11 now. Newhouse raised under the gun with trays. Max Senft with king, queen of diamonds, thinking about it.
Senft, 24-year-old Austrian student.
He's now the tournament short stack.
All in.
And he says all in for almost $5 million.
He's pushing with 16 big blinds left.
Larabe folds his big blind back to Newhouse.
4.925.
Newhouse can put Politano's chips to work here comfortably.
And there he does make the call. Senft at risk. He's got 2 big overcards with diamonds against the trays of Newhouse.
I've joked about Senft trying to fold his way to the final table. Frankly, down the stretch, he hasn't been able to pick up many hands.
Mark Newhouse on a rush, trying to get stronger. And oh, another set for Newhouse!
At least Senft's got bank robbery to fall back on.
He needs both the turn and river to stay alive.
Well, actually, I don't even know why they put a board out there. Once Newhouse called the all-in, they should just invoke the mercy rule and declare the hand over.
The hand is over. Senft drawing dead on the turn. Newhouse scores the knockout, continuing to show amazing resiliency. Senft out in 11th place for over $565 grand.
$500,000 for folding all week? It's nice work if you can get it.
Newhouse scores the knockout to bring this main event down to a single table. 1 table of 10 now, 1 table of 9 tomorrow night. Some fist bumps, a little celebration, but there's still work to be done. 1 more elimination until we have our November 9. Will Mark Newhouse make history? Welcome back to the 2014 World Series of Poker Main Event telecast presented by Gentleman Jack. The mothership is packed. The featured table is packed. Just 1 elimination until we have our November 9. Billy Pappas, the only first-timer left.
This fella is the main event personified. If he makes the November 9, everybody wins.
Mark Newhouse with a healthy 3rd place stack.
If this guy makes back-to-back November 9s, I will, why even bother at this point?
And there's the chip leader from the Netherlands, Jorryt van Hoof.
Trying to give the Netherlands a November 9er for the 2nd straight year following McKeel Brimmelhouse.
The leaders are important, but everyone is watching the short stacks, Larabe and Tonking.
It's the old game of musical chairs on the biggest bubble in poker, and if you're standing when the music stops, you are a forgotten and forlorn man.
Lose all your chips now, walk away with $565 grand, but there's a $10 million carrot up top if you need extra motivation.
There was no final table bubble boy the first couple of years of the main event because everyone started at the final table. 6 entrants in 1971, 8 in 72.
Of course, in the very first year of the World Series in 1970, no final table. Champion determined by a vote of all the players. Johnny Moss was the winner. Under the gun, Martin Jacobson, ace-jack of clubs.
Very accomplished tournament player. 4 World Series final tables.
Raise.
The dealer announces raise, but I don't think Martin has the right denominations out there.
Hold on. Hold the action. Just call.
So they're making it just a call for $300,000.
By the way, that was World Series Dealer of the Year Andy Tillman. Frankly, I think the Dealer of the Year thing has gone to his head. He's dealing with a lot more attitude now.
One of these players will join the likes of John Hewitt, Jordan Smith, and Don Barton as main event 10th place finishers. Action on William Tonking. Jack 9 in the small blind. He wants to play. He limps in. In the big blind, Dan Sindelar checks his option. 3 for a bargain. And here is our flop. 7, 8, 10, 2 clubs, talking with a jack high straight. He checks it to Sindelar, middle pair with a gut shot. And he's reaching for chips, bets a $500,000. Jacobson with flush and straight draws.
If Jacobson raises under the gun as he intended to, Tonking likely would have folded. Instead, they're now on a massive collision course that could define the November 9.
Jacobson obviously loves his hand with straight and flush draws. Unfortunately, he's run into Tonking, who flopped a straight. But there is a raise to $1,750,000.
So the 2% hand bets and the second worst hand raises. Lon, this is a game I need to be in. A dream scenario for the short stack that still could turn into a nightmare for William Tonking.
All in.
And Tonking announces all in. Sindelar folds.
Jacobson's got $20 million. This is for 15% of his stack. He's not going anywhere.
I call. Martin calls with his draws to win or chop. Tonking is the one on the hook.
So sick that you didn't raise. Wow. So sick that you didn't raise and then this flop comes. Yeah. I mean, how's that happen?
Pretty brutal to flop the nuts and only be 56%. Tonking's got to fade Jacobson's hand, and an entire group of players and railbirds here who want to see him knocked out, so we have our November 9.
What a moment.
This is probably the right flush draw to fade.
Tonking has to sweat it. 5 of diamonds. Jacobson still looking for that knockout card.
Jacobson a lot more relaxed than Tonking, understandably. If Jacobson hits a club, Tonking is gone, and we have our November 9.
The river card is a diamond! And so Tonking secures the pot. We continue 10-handed.
Nice time. Thanks. Boo! How's that feel to fade the entire room?
Yeah. Well put by Dan Sindelar. Tonking had to fade the entire room.
Sorry, guys. Nice hand. At least if I busted, I got it in with the nuts. Yeah, exactly. Who's going to say anything?
William Tonking keeps us 10-handed for now. Welcome back to the main event. Huge paydays guaranteed for the remaining 10 players, but everyone gunning for the $10 million first place prize.
Tonking, Larabi, and Politano are the short stacks, but everybody's got at least 30 big blinds, so nobody's in desperation mode.
All right, let's go down to Kara Scott right now, who's with an interested observer who's also a friend of Mark Newhouse's.
Mike the Grinder Mizrahi is 9th on the all-time money list, and he has been in this situation. Talk to us about the emotion right now that they're going to be feeling down there.
Well, I'm sure Mark could describe it to you, but it's just when you're very experienced, as for Mark, and he's been in the situation before, it's like, just be patient, and it looks like Mark has a great position on the chip leaders now, so he's got no worries, and it's the biggest stage in poker, making the main event final table, especially November 9. A lot of these guys haven't experienced what Mark's experienced, and actually got 2 friends in there. Got Louis Velador, 2 really good friends, and Mark Newhouse. But I don't think they'll be worried. They're professionals, and I expect Mark or Louis to hopefully come first and second, both of them.
Okay, thanks so much for talking to us.
Thanks.
Newhouse raised with pocket 7s. Dan Sindelar re-raised with jacks. Back on Newhouse.
Newhouse appears to be crushed here, but we know he's actually a huge favorite to win this hand.
What are you playing roughly?
17.
17 million, that's a pretty good stack. Newhouse has 25 million, but somebody with 17 million can hurt him.
You got to help me with these chips. Is that
Mark is going to make that call.
Is that right? Okay.
Having the same trouble that Martin Jacobson had earlier. Trying to figure out the denominations of these chips. Heads up, Sindelar with the jacks against the 7s of Newhouse. Here is the flop, and no set for Newhouse. What's going on? Sindelar's jacks still lead.
Sindelar's dad and brother ran a large cattle and farming operation in Nebraska when he was growing up, and Dan would help out in the summers.
$1.2 million from Sindelar.
Newhouse, of course, has never even seen a farm in his life.
He calls. Turn card now, King of Diamonds. Sindelar still good.
Sindelar has 2 older sisters, Julie with a degree in international business, Karen working on a doctorate in nursing. They're both smarter than he is.
Well, he looks pretty smart betting with those jacks with 2 overcards out there. 2.7 million.
That's 2.7 million.
If Newhouse were on a farm, he would know he's now standing neck deep in the wheat fields.
Pocket sevens into the muck. Sindelar showing some giddy up there, and he'll take that pot.
The local pro by way of Nebraska feeling good.
Nice little boost to Sindelar's stack. He moves up a spot to 5th place. Mark Newhouse entered a pot and didn't win. How about that? Back on day one, 6,683 bought in for 10 grand each, and now just 10 remain. Newhouse, a huge story. Pappas, a huge story.
Pappas brings to mind Walter Ray Williams Jr., world champion in bowling and horseshoes. For Pappas, foosball, and maybe poker.
Sorry, what's your name?
Mark Newhouse.
Billy.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Mark already played the final table of the WSOP.
I've heard. Sorry, I have no idea.
Listen, Billy is world champion in another sport.
Oh yeah? What sport?
The game. Foosball.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty awesome as well, huh?
Yeah, that is awesome.
I'm a world champion.
Really cool.
Really?
Yeah.
World champion?
Awesome.
That's a trip.
We got to play sometime.
The secret's out.
Absolutely. It's all good, buddy.
Jacobson with pocket sevens.
That's a 650, right?
Confirming with Sindelar, yeah, that's 650, and that's a raise. Politano, 10 tray suited into the muck. 2 Pappas now with ace-queen.
I wonder if there are different surfaces in foosball, like the French Open of foosball, the Wimbledon of foosball. And is there an ace-queen in foosball?
Yeah, right. There are several brands of championship tables. Billy's a tornado guy, by the way.
Tornado.
And Billy with ace-queen re-raises to $1,425,000.
The main event's a grind, but Billy Pappas says he doesn't get tired here because he's used to foosball tournaments, which are 14 hours a day on your feet for several days.
Newhouse messily folds. The ace of hearts is exposed. So action now back to Jacobson.
Jacobson trying to become the first Swede to make the main event final table since Chris Bjorn in 1997. Bjorn tied for 6th all-time in World Series cashes. Bjorn and Jacobson, both born in Sweden, both moved to London.
Jacobson made the call. We're heads up. King, Jack, Trey. Jacobson ahead still with the sevens. Pappas picks up a Broadway draw. Jacobson checks.
Of course, Bruno Politano trying to become the first Brazilian to make the main event final table.
1.8.
Lon, what happened to the Canadians? A record 10 bracelets in 2013. None this year.
Persona non grata Canadienne.
I think they got too cocky.
And now Pappas comes out with his draw for $1,008,000.
Pappas was rather aggressive earlier in the main event, again showing his aggressive side right now.
Martin folds. Pappas will drag the pot. Now he sits just shy of $20 million. A world champ in 2 different games. It just could very well be. Billy Pappas makes good use of that scary board to take down the pot. We started tonight's action with 14 players and quickly got down to 10. Bruno Politano got the best of Mark Newhouse.
Hi, Cole.
And then Mark got the best of him right back.
Sorry, guys.
Before talking, kept us 10-handed. Welcome back to the World Series of Poker Main Event telecast presented by Gentleman Jack. We are 10-handed at the main event. To be so close and get shut out would be crushing Carlos Mortensen, the bubble boy last year.
And Carlos would love to have that last hand back from last year against J.C. Tran.
Our chip leader, Jorryt van Hoof from the Netherlands. With Jack 10 offsuit, raises to $700,000. Mark Newhouse, November 9er from last year, on the button with ace 10.
9th a year ago. He does not want to finish 9th or 10th this year.
And he does call his buddy, Luis Velador, in the small blind with Jack 10.
Luis plays cash in Los Angeles and San Diego. Loves pot limit Omaha, which is Felix Stevenson's favorite game.
He folds to Andoni Larabe, the Spanish pro, gets out of the way, so we're heads up. 2 of the 3 biggest stacks. Here's the flop, King 10-4, pair of 10s for both. Newhouse with top kicker.
Van Hoof with the bigger stack, Newhouse with position. And have we mentioned we're on a big bubble?
Yeah, isn't it though? Get knocked out now, you have no shot at $10 million. Van Hoof with his pair of 10s bets $1,050,000.
The million indicates he has middle pair. The 50,000 indicates he has a decent kicker. It's as plain as day.
Just a call with Mark's pair of tens.
Something tells me Newhouse has the messiest apartment west of the Mississippi.
Queen now both with Broadway draws. Von Hoof also open-ended.
Von Hoof missed the start of day one here. He woke up that morning, did yoga, meditation, and ate some breakfast, then saw in a poker magazine he was supposed to be playing. It's a good thing he reads.
Von Hoof with, wow, a lot of those base chips appear to be in position. And they go in the middle. Go big. Over $4.5 million.
Well, $4 million indicates he has a pair of tens. $50,000 indicates he has a decent kicker. And the $500,000 indicates he has an up and down straight draw. It's as plain as day.
Well, Newhouse cannot read the road signs. He gives up the best hand, and Von Hoof flexes his muscle and takes the pot.
Well done by the 31-year-old. And there he goes again with the excessive celebration. I thought he had been warned.
So the big stack gets a little bigger, this time at the expense of Mark Newhouse. Von Hoof, born in the Netherlands, now lives in London. He's played a lot of poker, but this is by far his best result.
He started day 5 here, 282nd in chips out of 291. He then started day 6, 15th out of 79. What a difference a day makes. And now he's chip leader when it most counts.
Von Hoof opening the pot with Jack 10 of spades makes it $800,000 to Luis Velador with Ace King.
Good time for Ace King.
Newhouse dropped a fifth after that last hand. Luis calls.
He'll play it sneaky.
And now Larabe with 2 black aces.
Not a good time for Ace King. Larabe, youngest player left at age 22. The short stack at the moment with 33 big blinds.
Boy, talk about getting a prayer answered. A raise and a call in front of him.
All in.
And yeah, all in for an even $10 million. So folded back around to Von Hoof. Jack 10 suited in the muck. Velador now.
Remember, we saw Velador lay down Ace King earlier on day 7 pre-flop when he decided he didn't want to likely flip against Felix Stevenson, who had pocket queens. If he didn't want to flip there, I definitely see no reason he'd want to flip here on the November 9 bubble. And of course, here it turns out he's crushed. If Luis loses his hand, he would become the short stack. He knows he's behind right now. I know he thinks he underrepresented his hand by just calling with Ace King, but there's no way Larabe, the short stack, goes all in here with less than a big pocket pair.
There is the call with half his stack. Wow! And Velador in a world of hurt.
Even aces against his king is not easy now.
Velador's played great poker for 7 days. That was not a great moment for him. 10-handed on the November 9 bubble. I believe you have to lay that down.
Luis has to crack the aces to get us to 9. Here is the flop, 5-8 king. He got a king, that's a little help.
In Luis's defense, he figured he was flipping there, and he knows if he wins, the November 9 would be set, and he'd be third in chips.
Turn card. With the crowd calling for this night to be over. Another 8, no help to Velador.
And even if Velador loses here, he'll still have more than 30 big blinds. I still think he made a big mistake.
Larabe 1 street from glory or the gutter.
Only a king knocks out Larabe.
The river card, a 6. Larabe is one of the big stacks now. Velador, the short stack.
Thank you, man.
Larabe got 2 gifts there, pocket aces and Velador's call with Ace King.
It was the best hand that can call me Ace King. The best hand because he has like jacks or something. Then it's...
Luis Velador now sits with $10 million after losing half his stack. Andoni Larabe probably would have been happy just to take down the pot without a call, but he got a huge double up instead. For his all-in move, Larabe gets tonight's Gentleman Jack right move, a move that puts the 22-year-old over 21 million chips. Well, Brian Reese's reign as main event champion almost over. Tomorrow night, a new final 9 will try to fill his shoes. Jorryt Von Hoof, the top stack. Luis Velador, the short stack, now down to 6.2 million.
Even though you're the short stack, I'm rooting for you, man.
I know.
Michael the Grinder Mizrachi knows full well what these 10 finalists are feeling. Action on Brazilian Bruno Politano with pocket tens. The blinds are up to 200, 400,000.
If Bruno makes the final table, they should move the November 9 to Rio in Brazil to accommodate all his people.
Well, they've got every other major event this year. Politano with the tens raises to 900,000.
Amazingly, Politano now the second oldest player remaining at 31. Velador the oldest by far at 51.
Fold, fold, fold. Around 2, Mark Newhouse on the button with pocket fives. Look out, Mark. Velador, you see, already peaked at his pocket fours. Mark with a call. Velador now.
And of course, Velador now the short stack, and he didn't have to be on the bubble in that spot against Larabe. I think he got to lay down ace-king.
Wondering what Politano's up to with his opening raise.
And now one mistake may lead to another here.
Luis Velador thinking about these fours.
All in.
And he says all in for over 6.1 million. Now back to Bruno with the best hand.
Well, I think Luis is tilting a little here, Lon. I expect him to find a better spot to push than pocket fours with 2 players already in the pot. Velador, though, down to 15 big blinds.
Politano, if it's just himself and Velador, he probably calls pretty quickly, but Newhouse in the mix, you never know, and the tens go in the muck.
Well, that was for about half of Bruno's remaining chips. It's a tight fold, but I guess he decided he didn't want to risk a lot on a flip, or maybe one of them even had him crushed with a bigger pair.
Now talk about a decision. Mark Newhouse with pocket fives.
Newhouse told Velador he's rooting for him. They're friends, but there are no friends in poker in terms of these decisions. Mark wants Luis to make the final table, but Mark thinking about stopping him from making it right now.
This is where you have to separate business from friendship.
Friends or no friends, this is a tough decision. It's for nearly 1/3 of Mark's stack.
Newhouse somehow makes the call and is in great shape to pave his own way into poker history. Luis's son, Luis Jr., sees his dad is in trouble.
You have tens? Oh my God. Yeah.
Coolers. He's got fives, I got fours.
Newhouse and probably on the brink of back-to-back main event final tables, trying to knock out his buddy Luis Velador.
Mark was true to himself with that call. Here's the flop, 6 ace ace. 2 aces and an overcard to both.
Yeah, not the worst flop for Velador. He's got some chop options now.
Luis Velador trying to find some way to hang on. The tray will not do it.
Yeah, chop possibilities are over.
Here comes the 6, doesn't play.
Newhouse, 1 card from another main event final table.
That's a brutal turn too.
Mark Newhouse, 1 card from history. With his brother looking on.
And now Mark Newhouse only needs to dodge a river 4 to make another main event final table.
The river card is an ace. That will do it. Vamos! We have our November 9. Velador out in 10th.
I don't know what you gotta do. That's the best misclick of my life.
Let the celebration begin.
I'm going to go celebrate Mark's achievement in the LA River. A field of 6,300 last year, a field of 6,600 this year, back-to-back final tables.
Mark Newhouse with a stunningly remarkable back-to-back performances, and the Brazilians doing what Brazilians love to do. Von Hoof will go as the chip leader, but it's Mark Newhouse in 3rd that really turns heads.
The odds of making back-to-back November 9s with the starting field sizes the last 2 years, 1 in 524,000.
Wow. Time for the DraftKings.com King of the Night. Here's Kara with Mark Newhouse.
You've had an amazing run all of the way through this. What sticks out to you as being kind of the main defining moment of the main event so far?
I don't know. There's been so many. I've been all over the place. Today, yesterday, everywhere. From short stack to chip leader.
Well, talk about having to make that call against your friend here to go to the November 9.
That's actually something that was going through my mind. I don't want to bust Louis. Like, oh my God. Like, I mean, but it's the main event, final table. What are you going to do? There's no friends here. You know, even though he's the short stack, usually you root against the short stack. I was rooting for him. He's my friend. I didn't want to be the one to do it, but we're playing poker.
Exactly, and we're going to see you at the final table, third in chips. Thanks so much.
Yep.
After 7 grueling days of play, the November 9 has arrived with a very familiar face. Mark Newhouse, last year's 9th place finisher, is back. Tomorrow night, it's the live final table at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. For Norman Chad and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarran. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. We'll see you again in less than 24 hours.